Welcome everybody back to Star Trek Club. I'm Captain Logan. Behind me is Brandon Grimm.
Hello.
And in the same city, but might as well be in Antarctica, it's Adam Meredith.
Yes.
Because Adam is still having to social distance and not come over, and it's like we've been having a long distance relationship, me and Adam, for the last half a year. You remember when we used to? Well, I almost said you remember when we used to go to movies together. You remember when anybody used to go to movies?
Yeah.
At all. But I miss seeing you, Adam.
Getting together was a thing.
But I'm so glad for living in the future in modern technology, because we still get to hang out on a weekly basis, regardless of the the fact that we can't be in person. So
if this had
it's
happened
fantastic.
in the 90s, it would have been a far.
Have you not been having that thought constantly?
Oh, I've been thinking about how I would do my job, and if this was the 90s and stuff, like I'd have to go in.
Yeah,
There's
obviously this is a crisis and it's been terrible for a lot of people, and I'm not belittling that, but compared to what it would have been like when we were kids, it's like it's like a first world problem.
Well,
compare it to that,
25 years ago.
because it would have shut down the universe back in the mid 90s. Like, it's crazy that we can function at all. I don't know, you got to count your blessings is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I just bought a new office chair and a.
Is it the one right behind you?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Did you buy Captain Kirk's chair? That's amazing. Did you get that desk recently too?
Did you see he actually looked behind him?
At home, working from home for a while.
Are you still? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've got me working from home through the end of the year now, so like they told us. Through the end of the year at least.
Well, the nice thing about working from home is that you don't have to sit at your desk all day wearing a mask. I mean, I guess a lot of places, if you're in like an enclosed enough place, you don't have to do that anyway. But I don't know, it's kind of nice you don't have to have a thing on your face all day. I guess that's good.
That is true, and I do. My alarms go off. I get up and I sit in my office chair. That's also nice.
Does it look like that?
No.
Oh, okay.
But there is no commute. The commute is 3 steps from my bed to my office chair.
And I got the red thing or the orange, whatever those things were that were on his desk for 7 seasons. Got those. The
isolinear chips.
I have no idea.
The enormous isolinear chips.
Yeah, the enormous isolinear chips.
Yeah.
They're like baby's first isolinear chip.
Okay, let's go ahead and get rolling here. Here in a little bit, Brandon and I are going to take a little field trip about 20 feet in that direction, and we're going to show you guys the collection I just bought out. I just bought out a 500-piece Star Trek collection from Vince's mom, of all people, who collected Star Trek memorabilia going all the way back to the early 70s. She used to go to a whole lot of conventions. She was very involved in that scene. With
keeping it alive and stuff.
And went to a lot of conventions. What I was going to say is she was involved in like the fanzine scene and all of that. She had a lot of
an article about those the women that wrote the Star Trek Lives book.
Oh wow!
And, talking about how they were involved in that whole scene and how it was really a lot of women really kept Star Trek going in the 70s.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was heavily watched by ladies. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we just got a super chat. Sorry, I'm distracted now. By TEdge1. Tom, thanks, buddy. Future Imperfect, he just put on the wheel. He says it's his 30th birthday, so happy birthday to you. And wants to know what our favorite Trek birthday episode is. Well, that's got to be Parallels. Forkiss 3, the Bat'leth tournament.
3.
Yes. When Data gives him the Battle of Heroes. That's right. Well, that's our trivia for today. It's all about Parallels. You know what? So I wanted to let both of you guys. Thanks a lot for the recommendation, Tom. Putting that on the wheel, and thanks for the super chat. In the question, I want to let you guys both put something else on the wheel today, because we haven't done that in several weeks, where we all add something to the wheel. You guys don't even have to put in a super chat. I was going to put on a TOS episode. I have decided, because of that my pick is going to be Parallels. So I'm going to put Parallels on the list. And you guys think for a minute, and here in a little bit I'll get back to you guys and ask you to put something on the wheel if you are so inclined. Go ahead, Brandon.
It's going to be TNG. It's going to be the Nth Degree.
The Nth Degree, okay. Why are you shaking your head at the Nth Degree?
I'm not. It's just predictable that Brandon would choose the Nth Degree.
Maybe.
Do you
We
have
love
one
that.
right off, or do you want some time?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Do you have one right off, or do you want some time?
What's the episode? I'm drawing a blank now. The episode where Duke. It's a flashback with Kira and her mom and Ducat.
That is Wrongs Darker Than Death or Night.
Death or Night.
Okay,
Let's
we'll put that on the list. Yep, Wrongs Darker Than Death or Night Time. Okay, cool. So thanks, guys. So we'll put those on the list. And as always, audience watching live, and thanks so much for being here if you're doing that. Thanks for watching after the fact if you're doing that. If you're watching live, because of course that's the only way this works, you can put something on the wheel just like Tom did. Just leave a super chat in any dollar amount, and that will guarantee you a pick of your choice as long as it's one that we haven't done already. And folks, try to pick some some kind of more off the beaten path stuff if at all possible. You don't have to do that, but we've got, overall about 700 episodes to go through. And so it's going to get down to nothing but mediocre at some point. Okay, so like I said, here in a little bit, we're going to take a look at the collection I just bought out. It's a lot of literature. It's a lot of books and magazines and things. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single title, but we're going to go over there so I don't have to put everything on the desk, so I can show you guys a little bit more of it, and I'll show you some of the highlights, some of the weirder, more obscure stuff. I got a spectacular deal on it, and it was really cool that she sold that stuff to me, and I mean it doubled my novel collection. It's gonna be cool to show you that. So anyway, let's do a real quick standard replicator. So then we're gonna do that, and then we'll do an episode. Actually, before we do standard replicator, let me spin the wheel, shall we? And find out what our first and potentially only episode, depending on, because we started kind of late tonight, ends up being. I don't know yet. We may only do one this evening. What's up, man?
Just really quickly, if I may say something about the novels, for those that don't know, most our online audience, when we used to have Star Trek Club, we used to feature a book that week, and you could check it out from the library, and you could read it if you wanted to.
It's really the only reason I have Star Trek novels, because I didn't used to care about collecting those, and then I got a bunch gifted for the library when we were having Star Trek Club, and I've got like multiple copies of things. I've liquidated some of the multiple copies. I still have some. Now I have quite a few more again. Well, some more again. It's surprising, though, the sheer amount of stuff in this collection I didn't have. Is weird. I mean, maybe 10%. Yeah, I had already. And so it's weird, the stuff that I didn't have. Also weird, the stuff I had that she didn't buy. I was kind of surprised by. So we have like opposite collections. It was interesting. And I mean, yeah, she was collecting before I was, but she bought all the way up to 03. So I mean, a lot of her novels are like mid-90s stuff. So she was buying the same time I was.
Right.
When I first got started anyway. So anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel and find out what our first and potentially only episode this evening is going to be. Here we go. Oh, you know what? I didn't put the episodes... Hold on. That's not going to count. Because I didn't put the ones that we just added on the wheel. I just put them in my list here. Oh. So it's Parallels, the Nth Degree, Parallels, the Nth Degree, and Wrongs Darker Than Death or Night. Okay.
And Future Imperfect.
And Future Imperfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Future Imperfect. This is a very professional operation we have. Okay, here we go.
What did it land on?
Year of Hell.
There's Year of Hell.
That's funny.
And it looks like... Hold on. Didn't we already do that?
The Doomsday Machine?
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on. Hang on. It looks like I put a few things on here that we did already. Maybe... No. Hold on. I never applied the changes. That's the original wheel from a million years ago. So that's like a week one. I was gonna say it looked like there weren't enough things on it. Look at it now. Look at the wheel now, you guys. All right, here we go. Spinning.
That's funny. Wow.
We have spun the wheel, and it lands on home soil.
No, we watched that.
Did we watch that already?
Yeah.
All right, hold
That's the
on.
one with the electro, the things
That's
that...
the ugly.
Oh, that's right.
Insane.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't like that. A lot of people gave that like that was 2 weeks ago, I think, or two episodes ago, or two meetings
Home
ago.
soil.
Anyway,
Remember how you talked about how you never remember?
And I still didn't.
Soil,
Home soil.
right.
Yeah, it looks like the Defector is our first episode. One of my favorite
Defector.
TNG episodes. It's one of my runners-up. Or did I put that on my list? I can't remember. It's either on my top 10 or it was a runner-up. I think it was a runner-up, but I love that episode a lot. So that'll be exciting. We'll watch that.
Good Ron Jones score in this episode.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Just for the sake of variety, and having fun. We'll do a real quick standard replicator. I have something in my Captain, a little brain. Brandon, we'll let you pick one next time, man.
Okay.
Don't let me forget. We'll let you pick one next time.
Sounds good.
I am thinking of something that has to do with Star Trek. These guys are going to ask me questions about it, yes or no. If you're watching live, you as in a collective audience get a turn as well. So leave questions that are relevant to what you know already, and I'll give you guys a turn after these guys have answered. Give you a few seconds, and if you don't have anything, we'll just go on to the next guy. So we'll start again with Adam, and it's in there, Adam. It's in my head. Go right ahead.
Okay, well, let's ask, is it bigger than Worf?
It is not bigger than Worf, Brandon.
Is it bigger than an exocomp?
No, actually, it's not bigger than an exocomp. Cinematographic asks if it's an android. It is not an android. And we go to Adam. He asked that before he knew anything.
Is it alive?
It is not alive.
Okay.
Is it a piece of technology?
Yes. It is a piece of technology.
Okay.
Adam.
Okay. Is it Federation in origin?
It is... I think I have to answer no. Yeah, it's not Federation in origin.
Okay.
Is it wearable? Do you wear
Yes. Yeah, the answer to that is yes.
Wearable.
Tom wants to know
can
if
I
it's...
guess?
Yeah.
Is it the Universal Translator?
Nope. Tom wants to know if it's... Yeah, they don't really wear those. They're like embedded,
they're built into the
communicator,
com badges later on, and then they have that one long one in TOS.
And I got the sense that sometimes they were like embedded even in the skin. I know the Ferengi did that.
The Ferengi had them in like their ear or brain or something. I don't know.
Yeah, embedded somewhere. Is that only in Little Green Men, or do we get that in other
only
places?
In Little Green Men. That
all
was
right.
Just to try to address that whole issue.
Good idea, though. Tom, is it bigger than a phaser? No. And now it's Adam's turn.
And it's wearable. Is it on Voyager?
No.
Okay.
Is it in DS9?
No. Cinematographic asked if it was nanotech, which doesn't really apply anymore now that we know that it's narrow. I guess it could be wearable nanotech, but no. Adam.
Okay. Is it in The Next Generation?
It is not in TNG, no.
Is it in Enterprise?
I don't believe so, no. Not seeing anything from the audience, so we'll go back to Adam.
Is it in, I guess, the original series?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have a guess yet?
Could have been movies, but...
Let me think here. I don't have a guess yet.
Okay.
Do you scan with it?
No. That's a good question, though. Cinematographic, is it Romulan in nature? No.
Is it a piece of jewelry?
Not as such.
Not as such. Okay.
Did we say... What was the answer to, was it Federation in origin?
No.
He said no.
Okay, that's right.
Look, Brandon thinks he's number one.
Um,
And I have a ship transporter.
Megatron,
A
look at
transformer.
that.
Look at that. It's a transformer made out of starships.
oh, that's cool.
That's great.
Is it... do we see it in the first season?
Of TOS?
Yes.
Trying to remember.
That's a
I
hard
don't
question.
think so. I think that's season 2. I'm almost positive it's not season 1. I'm almost positive. I will double check and make sure, because now I'm second guessing myself on that. Because TOS air order is weird. Because like I never watched it that way, and so some things I know for sure, and some things I don't. Yeah, I just don't see. Well,
Oh,
no,
I think I might know
don't
what
do
it
that,
might be. I
Brandon.
don't
I'll just
know.
look it up here. Okay, where are we at?
One of those people.
One of those people.
One of those people.
Tom wants to know if it's a mind control device. It is not mind control. That's a good question, though.
Is it from the Mirror Universe?
Yes.
Is it your agonizer, please?
It is, indeed. Your agonizer, please. That is what we were looking for. Yep.
Yeah.
Way to go, man. Good job. Would you come up with that?
As soon as he said Mirror Universe, yes.
Yep. It could have been the Tantalus field, though, but that's not really wearable.
That's true. They can't really wear it.
It's not portable.
I don't even know what it is. Something in the wall.
It's in the wall. You gotta open up a thing and press some buttons.
Something in the wall.
Or not even. I think it's a dial.
Apparently has
don't
a
you
camera.
Don't you turn
everywhere.
it? Isn't that what you do? Don't you turn it?
Turn a knob.
Yeah.
And press a button, and you can select any person in the entire galaxy. Apparently.
Well, that was fun. Okay, so we're gonna do something we've never done before now. So hopefully we don't have any tech issues with this. We're gonna experiment. I did run a test on this earlier. It seemed to work okay. We're gonna jump over to my tablet now and make a little 20-foot trek across the bunker. Adam, Brandon and I are not gonna be at the desk, so if there are any issues that people are throwing out in the comments where they can't hear us, or there's any, or you see the stream fail or something, would you let me know?
Okay.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and...
Well, I can't see the comments, but I can see the if the stream fails.
You can't see the comments.
No, I can only see your Streamlabs window.
Have you not been pulling up comments this entire time?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll send them to you. Hold on.
Okay.
Yes, that's where they'd be, buddy. I never thought to explain this to you. Sorry.
He's never had them.
He's never had them. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, no, I'll just send these to you on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm just sending you the comment feed popped out.
Okay.
Everybody bear with me for just a minute here, because I won't be looking at comments while we're doing this. So I'm gonna leave that in your capable hands, Adam, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So we're gonna split screen ourselves. You're gonna see us on one side, Adam on the other side. And now I'm going to call myself. Here we go. I'm going to Skype on a different Skype account.
Yeah.
Skype. Skippy. Okay, actually, I'm going to add myself this way. Hold on.
Cool. All right, I got the comments.
Excellent. Look, I'm adding Captain Logan to the call.
So, you're on the Geekvolution Skype, then? There's a specific Geekvolution Skype?
Kind of. I mean, it's just two different personal accounts with different emails.
Since I've never actually Skyped you.
Okay, so I just turned that off.
Okay.
Okay.
And hopefully there's not any echo or anything. I'm not hearing... Hold on. Adam, give us just...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Through the
iPad.
Okay, so now all I gotta do is get this flipped around. I didn't have any problem earlier flipping this, Brandon, but now I'm not seeing where it is. Okay, sorry guys, everybody just bear with me a minute. It was like up in the corner.
Yeah, it should be in the corner.
Oh, oops. What happened? Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Can you hear me? I can still hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, we're still in the call. Yeah, sorry, everybody. It's weird. It's now that we're in a multi-call like this, Brandon, it's not giving me the option that it did before.
That's weird. Might just have to turn it around.
Yeah, we may. I'm hoping we don't have to do it that way, but...
So, am I seeing... It looks like I'm seeing the video still from the...
You are. I haven't flipped it yet.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't want to make anybody nauseous.
Okay.
Which is probably what will happen. But, yeah, I get... So if we flip it around, we won't be able to tell what people are actually seeing, Brandon. It's going to look...
Right.
It's going to be weird. Yeah.
They still hear you.
Yes.
Like
so that's good.
That's good.
Sorry, guys. Let me just monkey with this for 1 second. Because I don't like... Oh, I just took a picture.
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, wait. No, I did that again, Brandon.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Do you not see anything?
I don't even see...
Yeah, before it was just a thing in the corner that would let you turn the camera around.
But are you actually in the call right now?
Yeah, we are. Because that's why people can hear us. Because I've turned this mic off.
Yeah, but where's this screen up there?
I haven't changed it yet.
We're still coming from that camera.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good
We're not
point.
coming from the camera on the tablet at all.
Yeah, and we should. No, that's a good point you're making. And we should be. Well, I don't know if this is going to work because I'm not sure why that
you just
is.
mirrored your screen.
Okay, no, that's
now
why.
I can see you over there.
The camera just wasn't on. Yeah, sorry guys. That's all it was. All right. Sorry, I've been dealing with technical issues for the last half an hour, and my brain is fried.
Now we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I
all
can
right.
see it.
So here we go.
There we go.
Look, there's our projector screen. That's how we watch Star Trek every week. When we do this video. Where is the camera? Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, why am I show
Adam again because
Well, and I can zoom in on my screen here. Look at that.
Screen.
Cool, so I can see it.
That's great, Brandon. Okay. All right, Adam. We are now going to go over and look at
cool
collection. So here we go. Let's all take a little trip, folks. Okay, so here is the Star Trek area of the bunker.
Yeah.
So this is not finished yet. I was hoping to get more things set up before we did this, but I promised you guys we would show you what I got last week. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Brandon, if you move for a second, yes. I'm going to put some shelves on that wall there. That will contain some of the random stuff that you're seeing just lying around right now. So this is somewhat in shambles at the moment. This is the remnants of the collection that I bought, and the rest of it is already on the shelves back here. So as you can see, we have now doubled the book collection. So everything in the middle there, or actually everything in those four shelves there is new. So we've got a whole bunch of old TOS books. All of the movie novels are there. I didn't have most of those before.
Oh, yeah.
And then a lot of the numbered stuff.
Okay.
The Star Trek 1 through 12s, I don't think it goes any farther than that, by James Blish. I've got all those now.
Cool.
But then those pocketbook numbered ones, I've got most of those now. They're not in order right now.
So are those TOS pocketbooks?
Yes, TOS pocketbooks.
Cool.
And then I got most of the numbers now for TNG, which I had a lot of, but I've got even more of that now. She had, where did I put them? She had all of, see all this stuff down here is new too. Check this out. She had all of the juvenile books.
Oh yeah, like Starfleet Academy and all the Deep Space, the Jake and Nog books.
Yeah, the Pet number 5.
The Pet. I read that when I was a kid. I remember that.
Really?
Yes, the Pet.
I got some of the numbered DS9 books. It's like a lot of the stuff I've never had in my possession, never really looked that closely at. And then a lot of the Voyager books, which I'm sure are mostly terrible. Keep covering up the camera because it's not where I expect it to be. Some of these hardcovers here are new, and then I got a bunch of reference that I didn't have before, including, and again, I collect a lot of reference, as you guys can tell. And she had a bunch of stuff that I didn't have, and some that I even hadn't heard of. Did you know that there are making of books for Wrath of Khan, a motion picture?
I was kind of aware of it, but I've never seen one.
Yeah. So yeah,
there's Star Trek Lives.
Yep. That I had already, I think. Look, here's the Star Trek Intergalactic Puzzles book.
Oh, that looks like that's from the 70s. Look at that.
It is. And then the Star Trek Puzzle Manual.
Wow. That's really from the 70s.
And then I've got biographies and autobiographies that I didn't have before. I've got both covers now of I Am Not Spock. I had one cover, and by the way, I have a written review of that on the channel if anybody's curious.
I've read that Decay one.
The Decay one I only had an audiobook for before, and now I have it. Beyond Uhura, I didn't have before. That is an autobiography by Patrick Stewart. An unauthorized biography of Patrick Stewart. Didn't know that existed.
Unauthorized.
Sorry, I jumped out for a second. And then, can everybody see me okay?
Mm-hmm. Looks like everybody's saying, yeah, no one's saying anything.
Adam, are we good? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's responding, but we should be broadcasting. Yeah, I just closed out the app for a second on accident.
Gotcha.
And then one of the coolest things that I got, and I know you probably know about these, Adam, I got a lot of the photo novels.
Cool.
And in really good shape. These are kind of hard to get and highly sought after by a lot of old Star Trek fans in the know about them. And what these would do... Hey, Brandon, would you mind coming and holding this for a second?
Yes.
Looks like everybody's saying they see what you're showing, which is good.
Oh, good. So,
I blocked it with my hand.
See, I was doing that too. That's not where I would expect the camera to be. But what these would do is they would take an episode, or in this case, a movie. Actually, this isn't as cool as the episode ones, but it would just take a bunch of screenshots and then put the dialogue in them. So they're basically comic books with the screenshots of the thing.
Did a lot of the movie ones, or a lot of the episode ones, did they come out at the time of the when TOS was on?
I think so.
I think
I think one of the big reasons they used to be really sought after is because Trek wasn't really available for a long time.
You couldn't get it. Right.
And so that was a way for people to kind of experience the episodes. And then, oh, you know what? Also down here, let's see. I'm just trying to remember where I put everything. So one thing, I may have to just tell you guys about this because I'm not seeing them right off. One weird thing I got, or maybe I haven't put them up yet. I got a whole bunch of...
I think your hand's in the... Oh, there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got a whole bunch of poetry books from the original cast, some of which are like chapbooks that it looks like somebody just printed off.
Oh, is it bound with like the weird spiral thing or something like that?
Photocopies of? Yeah, oh, here they are. They're right under I Am Not Spock. So I got weird stuff like, and by the way, I love Leonard Nimoy. His poetry is nauseating.
And we are all children searching for love.
Love and Come Be With Me by Leonard Nimoy. This stuff is very kind of...
I think something your audio is a little muffled all of a sudden.
Oh, I probably just covered something I shouldn't have covered.
That's better. Oh.
Anyway, and then one of the coolest things I think is this chapbook by Leonard Nimoy, or not Leonard Nimoy, by DeForest Kelley, because there can't be very many these running around. Yeah,
I wonder if she got that when she, like, at a convention he was at or something.
Must have been a con in the 70s, yeah. And this is, and I won't read it right now, but we may read this together at some point because it's amusing. This is a poem that is one poem cover to cover. It's a long one that's making fun of everybody in the original series. It's just poking fun at all the actors. All the other poetry stuff is not about Star Trek.
Wow.
Over here, we've got a very large collection now of magazines. Some of this is stuff I had already.
Look at that TV guy.
Yeah. She was a member of the Star Trek fan club forever, and they had these not so professional looking like they were kind of
newsletters.
Looking newsletters.
Yeah.
Going back to Wrath of Khan, and then after a while, the same magazine begins to look
more professional,
more like this,
more glossy. Look at that.
Yeah, and I have about 40 issues of this. And again, as I'm going through these and reading some of the stuff, I'll maybe in Trek Club bring out some articles and give you guys some highlights, because there's a whole bunch of interviews I have access to.
Looks like Jason's here now.
Is he? That I didn't have before, and a whole bunch of stuff that you guys won't as readily be able to get your hands on, or you'd have to pay some money for, that I can share with everybody.
Look, there's Kira. Was that Kira? Was that Kira in the Starfleet uniform that she wore briefly in season 7?
It was, yeah. And then I've got about 40 issues now of the Star Trek
magazine. Oh, Communicator.
The Communicator, which was kind of the big premiere one.
It was the main one, right?
First Contact and beyond.
It was. I think it was probably the longest lasting of all the Star Trek magazines. I want to say.
And then I got some records. Here is William Shatner live.
Wow.
Some X-Files calendars. I got a bunch of calendars. I own now almost every Star Trek calendar between 1982 and 2003.
Wow.
So, if you care about calendars, it's just
what
kind
is
of fun
that?
relics to have. This is Isaac Asimov's Foundation, one of the parts of Foundation, read by
William Shatner.
Yeah. I'm going to put that in my record player at some point.
That's
I'm curious.
awesome.
This is kind of sought after. This is the Star Trek bloopers record that you can go listen to. I think somebody posted that on YouTube, but I've got the actual record now. Unfortunately, I got water damaged at the yard sale that they were trying to sell these at before I got. So this got water damaged like a week ago. Yeah. It didn't look like this. So that sucks, but the record's in good shape. This is apparently super rare. I didn't know about this either. This is another sci-fi thing read by Shatner.
Someone said in the comments, just so you know, the video description is still set to after dark.
Oh, I'll change that. Thanks. Not a big deal. And then, like I said, here is all of those. I thought you were going to say, just so you know, we haven't been able to hear a word you said in the last 10 minutes. Boy, when you're doing something like this, the last thing you want to hear is just so you know.
I think it's going good. Do you have William Shatner's The Transformed Man? That's his first album.
Yeah, I don't think that's in here. And I don't already have a copy of that. You're right. That is a thing I need to get my hands on at some point. But anyway, yeah, lots of cool stuff. Here's this blanket. Okay. This is a
wow, look at that.
Blanket. I never saw that. Didn't know that existed.
That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty cool. And then there's some other novels and things from other things. I got a big run of Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap had novels?
Yeah, and Indiana Jones.
We got Indiana Jones, yeah.
Yeah, there's the Quantum Leaps down there. And then I got all of Tech War.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if you ever read the first Tech War, but it's wonderful.
I've never read it. I remember the weird TV show of Tech War that was on like the USA channel in the 90s or whatever.
Yeah, Shatner was in that.
He was in it like as a supporting character. He was like the guy running things or whatever.
So anyway,
let us just get our headphones back on here. You're all by yourself, Adam. It's just you. Anyway, so yeah, I just want to show you guys some of the cool stuff that I just got in that collection.
Awesome.
It's really cool, and as I'm digging through stuff, I'll bring some things out. Like I said, I'd like to read some old, kind of, rare articles, just stuff people don't know about at some point as I'm going through. So maybe for a while, I'll try to pick like one cool thing a week and just read some excerpts.
Yeah. I remember when we were in Trek Club, we read the that scene in the Star Trek 3 novelization that was like the weird romance subplot between David Marcus and Savick. They left out of the film.
The things you remember, Adam.
Okay, well, guys, let's go ahead and go on now to an episode, shall we? We're gonna watch what came up. It was The Defector, which is season 3 of TNG. I don't know the episode number right off the top of my head, but I think it's like early to mid season 3.
37. Episode 37.
There aren't even 37 episodes in a season, Brandon. It's not Power Rangers.
Pull this up here.
So everybody, pull up the episode if you are so inclined and have access to Netflix or any of the different numbers, places that I don't know what I'm saying right now. Places that you can watch
episode 10
live stuff or Star Trek stuff, and then the Defector is episode 10 of season 3. I keep wondering when CBS is finally going to go, yeah, nobody can stream this except for CBS All Access, but that still hasn't happened yet. Thank goodness. But... I think once CBS All Access gets rebranded as the like catch-all, you know, CBS and Paramount channel, that is likely to happen at that point. Okay, Brandon, do you remember the Defector?
Barely.
Oh, yeah?
I do. I know I'm going to recognize more of it when we watch it.
This is the episode I gave my old boss when I worked at the mortuary when he was confounded by my interest in Star Trek and wanted to know why I cared so much about the show. So this was the episode I gave him. I gave him this, and I gave him Q-Who, I think. And I remember distinctly just his pronouncing this episode title when he came back and told me that he watched it. I was like, did you finally get? You know, he was this older guy that had just never watched Star Trek, and he's like, why are you so obsessed with Star Trek? So I was like, well, you want to watch one? I've got, you know, at the time I had a bunch of VHS, and he had a VCR in his office right next to
you give him the Columbia House tape?
I did, and my apartment was right next to his office, and so he was like, well, give me an episode. So I gave him the fact, and so the next day he goes, well, I watched the Defector, and he liked it, so that was fun.
Was his name Mikey?
His name was not Mikey. Okay, good one, Brandon.
Why do you think his name was Mikey?
Because hey, Mikey, I think he likes it. Because it's not a funny joke.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyway,
jokes don't have to be funny. It's still
yes, they do.
They don't.
Yeah. Oh, so you come from
the bad joke.
So you come from the
anti-comedy,
the TNG Joe Piscopo school of comedy.
Oh God.
Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. Get ready to press play. When I say now, make sure that you're it's bizarre. Make sure that you're at timestamp 0 and get ready to press play when I say now. And I'm going to. Here we go. Everybody, please press play. Right now.
You know, forget dissing me in 6 different languages.
Yes.
Diss me in 6 different TV shows.
I want to point
and all in
out
English.
So the guy holding
Brandon.
the pointy thing, that's Patrick Stewart.
That is Patrick Stewart.
Oh my goodness, is it really?
Yeah.
So he's going to be playing them, and then Picard shows up later. So he's playing a dual role in this scene.
Yeah, that's a really good point you're making. Just to point out to everybody that is Patrick Stewart, but that is not Picard wearing a costume on the holodeck.
No. It was just Patrick Stewart was like, read that they were going to do this, and he's like, I got to do this. Give me a role.
Yeah, and it's weird
so
because...
they put a fake nose on him, too.
And the thing is, I don't know if that's supposed to be a hologram of Picard for some reason, because they don't explain that. They don't say that it is. But the only other time in the holodeck that you'll see a character that looks like one of our characters is when somebody intentionally does that, and we very often treat it as a violation.
Yeah, like when Barkley does it.
There's Picard.
Yes.
I do like the idea that Picard may be arrogant enough about his own acting skills that he's like, I'm going to put myself in here and then see if Data can, like, act up to... Man, Picard, just your sheer effing hubris. See, if that Admiral was talking about his you know, his being impressed with his own... Well, but actually, Picard doesn't even like acting.
No.
Like, the character of Picard does not act. Because Beverly tries to get him in place constantly, and he won't do it.
Yeah, and he won't.
Maybe that's why he programmed himself this way. So
the thing I most remember about this episode is when he says, "Suit your place." Yeah, he just said it. Suit your place. I remember that. Yes, Solar Dragon. It's the Defector, not the Deflector.
The Deflector.
And surprisingly, in 700 episodes, there's never an episode called the Deflector.
but there could have been.
Oh, they do the same thing that they always do, where they'll say 2 real people and then fake people, that just so we remember that they're in the future.
Oh, that's a good point. On the other hand, if you only ever brought up stuff that you recognized, then you complain about it.
They always do.
Well, that's a thing that was annoying for a while in the Orville, where it didn't seem like they had their own culture at all. They were like trapped in the 20th century, and then finally somebody's like, that 21st century movie epic, and I'm like, thank goodness you guys have your own culture.
Okay, I like how they did this because the costume comes with Data, just like it does in like all the other times where Picard's dressed as Dixon Hill.
The other day.
Yep. Yeah, this came up last week.
Yes.
Oh, I like how he pulls the wig off, like the Friar's hair wig.
What episode were we watching? It was a Voyager, wasn't it?
Voyager.
Might have been.
Consistent.
And TNG is, however, not inconsistent about this. Like we until First Contact. So the TV show is not inconsistent about that.
Right.
You do have to put on a uniform or a costume of some kind to go in the holodeck and be wearing a costume. They are inconsistent early on about whether or not you can take stuff from the holodeck out, but that's just because they hadn't gotten the kinks worked out, so that becomes a soft retcon.
And they stay with this consistency in Deep Space Nine too. But you see Miles and Julian wearing the World War II fighter pilot outfits. Kira and Dax wearing like the castle Maid Marian kind of outfits and stuff. And did they all go down the promenade in the suit? So. I don't know what Voyager's deal was.
And even the stuff that they had to wear in Dax and Worf's wedding when they had the the Klingon bachelor party.
Right.
Can I say, like, whenever I see this episode, how epic that like reveal is, like the Romulans coming out of the
that's a great
cloaks.
special effect there.
Yeah, and they're like under pursuit, and then all of a sudden they show up on screen. You're like, oh my god, the Romulans.
And that was Ron Jones' cool music that we just talked over there.
Well, I mean,
we don't want a bunch of high notes.
You don't want a bunch of dead air for the folks at home,
Yeah.
You also don't want to just hear Brandon try to recreate it with his voice. Just in case you're not watching. We actually should do that when we watch
Arena,
Arena,
was
though.
Not so invasive as yours just now. And can I also say...
I'm not even saying that what you did was bad. I'm just saying I don't think people would rather listen to that.
Probably not.
Or me or Adam or anybody.
Heck, I don't even want to listen to
you.
Me, but the Enterprise D specifically, would you, if you had the opportunity to serve on a ship like that, would you serve on a ship like that?
What do you mean?
Like just the Enterprise D, it's so grand, it goes off and explores, space.
I don't think I would want to serve on a ship that gets into as many problems as that ship does.
Yeah, that ship's a lemon. Compared to the original series Enterprise, it breaks down.
It breaks down all the time. I didn't even think about that, but also even in TOS though, like you're constantly in crazy kinds of danger, and you're hitting
you're gonna die.
Spatial anomalies and all kinds of if you're not important, you're gonna die. But it's even worse in TNG because I would have this constant ethical issue of and also there's kids here. There's like all these families on board.
Go to the Romulan neutral zone. Just take all the families with you.
I don't know if I'd want to serve on it, but I would definitely not want to just live there.
Wasn't that the idea?
Like, there's people that just live there.
But wasn't that the idea behind being able to take the star drive section out? Was you could take those into those situations and leave.
This completely stops the show. We're not going to do this ever again. It takes 5 minutes to do this scene.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I love the design of the ship. Like, if it was just stationary and never went anywhere and I could just live on it, sure.
The Enterprise D Resort.
Yeah, I guess I don't know why you're asking that, Brandon.
I was telling you we watched the Jim Hadar episode the other day where the Odyssey, which is the Galaxy class ship, gets destroyed. At least they had the throwaway line in that episode where they're like, "We're gonna offload all of our non-essential personnel before going into the Gamma Quadrant." So at least all the kids didn't die that time. But you have to wonder about all the other times. Big Bender's Galaxy class ships blow up.
This looks really pretty remastered. I know we talk about this all the time, but the main thing I'm noticing is just colors popping that didn't before.
Yeah.
Like the green on those Romulan ships, really cool looking.
Really good.
I don't remember this episode opening with this much action, but of course it's gotta, because this guy's gonna be a defector.
So I think it's really cool that the Enterprise can extend its shields like that around another ship.
Yeah, they actually did a good job with the scale this time. Sometimes they don't do a very good job trying to differentiate the size of the Enterprise versus other ships, I feel like, in this show. Just because they're working with models.
Is that your phone?
Mm-mm.
What is that?
What? My phone isn't on.
I don't hear anything.
I don't hear anything either.
I'm hearing music coming from somewhere.
Not
It
from
sounds
the
like it's coming
episode.
from your phone.
It's not. My volume's off.
I don't know what that is. Something. Or I've turned into a crazy person. I'm hearing something. Solar Dragon, well, no, I know he's asking because it's a nice looking ship, but we've watched lots of TNG and Club so far. I'm just surprised he's never asked that before. Like, why now? Did you guys, Solar Dragon, did you guys hear that Orville Season 3 will be its last? That's a rumor. We don't know for sure that that's true.
Really?
That's from an unreliable source. At first, I bought that hook, line, and sinker, and then looked farther into it when I heard that it might just be a rumor, and that's not from a reliable source. So that's...
Look at that.
Could be true, but we don't
so
know that
cool.
for sure. Yeah, it's awesome. This is why models are often better. Especially during this period.
What is this actor's name? We've seen him in other things, I think, in Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's in a bunch of stuff. Is that John Hancock, or is that somebody else?
They just said John Hancock in the credits. So
That's why I asked. Yeah, I don't know if that's John Hancock or if it's somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Solar Dragon, that didn't come from. Well, I mean, okay, that conspiracy's amusing. He said, "I bet CBS put out that rumor." I don't think so, though. I think that was wishful thinking from somebody who likes New Trek and doesn't like Orville, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
So was it convenience that he just happened to be defecting right around where the Enterprise was? And
Yes.
That's a chance to get to him.
Yeah.
So that's a little interesting. But then
I mean, it could be any ship.
right,
It just happened to be the Enterprise.
just happened to be the flagship. you know.
Busted Sim, we're sitting around 10 minutes or so, timestamp wise. So yeah, I love the mystery in this episode. You're wondering the whole time if this guy is who he says he is. Spoiler alert, it will turn out that he's not. And even when you find out that he is the Admiral, there's still a lot that he's hiding, and you wonder if that's true, and it lies within lies.
Right.
The no base speech is a really great Picard speech. Or not even a speech,
No
just a really
base,
fun line.
Admiral.
No base, Admiral.
Nirvana 3. No base.
No base! Yeah, I love that scene. It's great. The directing and the lighting in this episode is really good. One of the reasons I like watching this one is just for the sake of mood. I think this is one of those episodes that helps TNG really find its identity and its footing and what it's going to be like for the rest of the show. Ron Moore has a lot to do with that, of course.
Right.
You don't
great
get
shot. Here, watch what happens.
You don't get a DS9, of course, without episodes like this and building this kind of more mysterious, atmospheric, darker, for lack of a better word, tone.
Yes.
TNG would not be the show it is, and modern Star Trek in general. I say modern, but Trek from this period in general, if you didn't have this kind of intrigue. Which TOS does some of, but TNG is really, really good at this kind of political intrigue, particularly with the Romulans, but just in general, with the Romulans and the Klingons.
I don't remember them ever really showing anything outside the windows in the observation lounge like that before. That was an interesting way of doing that, of it just blowing up there in the background.
Stephen Murphy. Oh, James Sloyan. Is that who that is? Because it's Dr. Mora, right?
Dr. Mora.
He just mentioned him. I'm pretty sure that's the same actor.
It's got to be the same guy.
And again, he's in other stuff, but it's just not immediately coming to me. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, it's Admiral Jirok. But
Yeah.
The dermal regenerators.
That is some really nice makeup.
Yeah, they did a good job with that.
That looks painful, Adam.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a pretty deep scar. I thought you're supposed to be able to wade that away.
Why isn't it disappearing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because the makeup's too good. Or, like, the makeup is easier to do than the effect of it disappearing, maybe.
Galondin core.
Oh, yes, Galondin core.
Reference to the Geordie thing. Common knowledge.
This is also the episode that people like to go back to in complaining about the weird retroactive Romulans hate androids thing in Picard, because he's going to have a conversation with Data, and I think it's this episode, right, where he tells Data that there's Romulan cyberneticists that would love to get their hands on him, right. And then Picard is trying to make us think that the Romulans are really anti-robots for some reason.
Right. He gets him back with some Romulan slang.
But this is another episode that really shows the potential of Romulans as political thriller villains, potential that goes utterly wasted. I wouldn't say wasted, but it never comes to a great climax anywhere, right? We do keep going back and doing cool episodes like this, both here and we do a couple in DS9. Well, okay, we do one, but I don't know if we really do anything cool with the Romulans in DS9 outside of.
We do two.
Pale Moonlight. Is there another one?
We do the Inter Arnhem Silent Legis. Is
that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess the Romulans are involved there. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But yeah, they never really do a long storyline with them or anything, really.
So here's the big misstep, I think. In DS9, we follow up and finally give really nice resolutions and conclusions to all the Klingon stuff we do here.
Right.
If you didn't have everything with Worf and Gowron in DS9, a lot of people wouldn't even be as fond of Gowron, probably.
Right.
Just because we actually got, they'd probably remember his crazy eyes and all of that, and everybody likes redemption. But you would have had the same reputation that the Romulans have, that you set up some really cool political thriller stuff and intrigue for the Klingons, but you never did anything with it. Because we brought Worf in, we did that, but you didn't have a catalyst like that as well for the Romulans, besides just getting them into the Dominion War. So it's hard to follow up on a lot of what we established with the Tal Shiar and stuff in TNG, because we're in the middle of a war with somebody else, and the Romulans come in as our allies, so it's really difficult to do much with it. Now, I guess because they're our allies, you could have eventually followed up on unification, or followed up on unification, sort of, but it would be weird to suddenly do a side story where at the same time as this huge war is raging, the Romulans come back into the fold with the Vulcans. That wouldn't happen during, maybe after. If you could have had another season of DS9, you could have done it. But so the big thing I'm suggesting is it's easy to pay off because you had Worf all of the stuff we were doing with the Klingons, but very difficult to do to follow up with unification, which is the big thing that we end up. We didn't actually lead to it with everything. They didn't know they were going there, but it ends up feeling like the big touchstone, the big kind of changing point, and then we never do anything with it.
We don't really go back with it, right? The Deep Space Nine, it wouldn't have been really good. There wouldn't have been any really good place to do that with Deep Space Nine. It was they were doing so much with already.
And that's why what Nemesis maybe should have been about, because you bring in the Romulans, you never mention Spock and unification, and then you get to the end of that movie and you get the impression that finally maybe we can build, at least a stalemate with them, if not, make them full-blown allies and have peace like we did with the Klingons. Maybe not bring them into the Federation, but at least have the same kind of allied thing. Nemesis should have been their Star Trek VI as opposed to another Wrath of Khan.
Right.
And so we should have been talking about unification in that. And then we get to 09, the very next thing after Nemesis, that is kind of calling back to that stuff, and it has to reboot with it. So you still don't get, they have to blow up Romulus, and you still don't get to see any of that happen.
Right.
So it's unfortunate. We do call back to, the thing is, it always felt like they're posing for a picture that nobody's taking.
Yeah.
Like they're posing for a publicity photo right now. It always felt to me like there was every intention of doing a big follow-up to Unification, and for whatever reason it never happened. Because when you get to Face of the Enemy, we're still talking about it.
Right.
And what happens with the Tal Shiar in that has everything to do with Unification and the and the group that Spock was working with, that was working toward that.
Right.
Just trying to think of the right word, not separatists, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, what were they? I can't think of the word.
Like, just they were in there you go. They were an underground. Yeah.
Underground.
Busted Sim, how much better would Nemesis have been if instead of Shinzon we got Sela instead? Probably not necessarily. I mean, because I don't love Sela, so it's hard to say it would be better, but at least it might feel like it mattered. You
just talked about the Hood again.
You could find the USS the Hood. You could finally, tie up loose ends. But she was such a cartoon character.
I agree with that statement.
I'm sorry. We should talk about the actual
admiral
episode.
that's not a jerk in the show.
We've had this conversation a lot. Not a ton, no. And
that's what the jest does to you, I guess.
And a lot that become retroactively jerks, or not retroactively, but where like you think that they're okay, and then they,
Pressman,
Pressman and Sati,
right?
Busted Sim, like I said, Sela is really only bad because they didn't use her well at all. I mean, I don't think she's a great idea in the first place, but that's not to say that she couldn't have been great. Yeah. It's so soap opera, like, just to get an actress back in your show, but I do feel like I still have to have the attitude of you can make anything work, you just have to make it work.
That whole thing where somebody's child looks exactly the same as them.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, her scenes in Redemption are fine, and like that's a cool mystery that, or not cool, but like it feels like a cool mystery building in that because it's written well, but then she's awful in Unification. I'm sorry, Brandon.
Oh, I was just going to say, Patrick Stewart looked a little riled in this situation. From the backside, he was a little redder than usual, like got a sunburn. He was like nearly the same color as his shirt.
Just back then, they had to use lights that were not great for your skin, Brandon.
I guess not.
They don't have to be that.
He had a bunch of like rosacea going.
We don't need heat lamps that are as hot now as we did back then.
He's got a giant geode behind him too.
Yes, I just noticed that geode.
What is that geode? Yeah.
Is it a holographic geode? Like a holographic fish?
He's gone to the one of those stores they used to have at the mall in the 90s. You could buy geodes.
Do you guys...
I love geodes.
And I don't mean to spend this whole time talking about Sela, but since we're here, Solar Dragon also says it ruins the dignified send-off Tasha Yar got in yesterday's Enterprise. Do you guys agree with that? That it ruins that send-off?
I mean, it doesn't really ruin it because it's still Tasha Yar, or at least that Tasha Yar still had her...
I feel like that is a trivia question. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I feel like that is a trivia question that if I'd asked back when we had the live club or the in-person club, nobody would ever remember. So that's so he turns out to be Admiral Jurok, but what are they calling him for the first half of the episode? Seatall, and I never remember that.
Mm-hmm. By the way,
irrelevant.
What room are they in?
Okay, so the answer to that question is a room that only comes up a couple of times, and I'm gonna go with interrogation slash courtroom when we decide to use it for that.
In the drumhead,
because they're gonna use it in the drumhead. So it's sort of like that
a court-martial room or something.
Yeah, what's weird is but you'd think that we would have used it. It's because they didn't build it yet, but you'd think we would have used it in. Like when we put Data on trial, there's Measurement Man. There's other places that it should have shown up, but we didn't. Why weren't we in that? Well, I guess it's because we needed a holodeck. I was going to say, why weren't we in that room when we put Riker on trial? But it's because we had to, or the evidence was all holographic.
I wonder if I can find that room on the official blueprints.
Good luck, man.
Do you have official blueprints, Brandon?
Oh, I
do.
The blueprints for the Enterprise D and the blueprints that I picked up last year for the Enterprise A.
I don't know if I have the same thing you do or not, but I have books that have it, but I also have those big fold-out posters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
think we both have those.
Version of those fold-out poster of the original
cool.
one made by the guy that did that technical manual, but I don't have it.
Mine are those big blue ones. Is that what
Same
you got?
here. Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that sounds redundant.
That's the one I have for TNG.
Because it's blueprints, but blueprints aren't always blue.
No, but I have. I also have a set.
Blueprints
for,
were blue back
the original
in the day.
Enterprise.
Can you
I don't
find
know why they would be blue now.
Did they do an updated one where you can find the observation deck or whatever it is from Generations?
I don't know.
In the blueprints, you know what is that? What is that room called? The thing that's astrometrics, but it's stellar cartography. Yeah, I wish they had that set.
Room names.
I wish they'd had that set built already in Lessons, right? Wouldn't it have been great if he walks in?
So she's just in around that little globe thing.
That super tiny room. Why is stellar cartography? Why is stellar cartography smaller in Lessons than Picard's quarters?
I know. So interesting. You know the little table that they have in engineering?
Yeah.
So that thing was originally built for Star Trek 6, or not 6, Star Trek 4, the Starfleet command area, you know, where they're watching the probe destroy Earth or whatever. There's like a table in there that people are all sitting around and stuff. It's the same thing.
Yeah. That table?
This conversation about instinct and intuition is classic, and I don't have a lot to. I don't want to get real deep into it right now, but it's just it's a wonderful scene.
Yeah.
As we found out in that Voyager episode we watched the other day, they didn't know what intuition was.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's got.
They needed to let Ron Moore write that episode clearly.
He's got a chambered Nautilus shell behind him too.
All the things Picard has in his office.
And then the Jellicoe takes all that stuff out. And he puts up like his kids' stuff.
But yeah, I like the idea in trying to explain to Data how you determine, what at least what you think about whether or not this guy is telling the truth.
Right.
That emotions are necessary, but also can be a hindrance too. The notion that the thing that Data wants is both our greatest strength and our greatest weakness.
Or weakness, right.
And so there are ways in which Data not having emotions helps to not hold him back as much. But then, in a case like this, would he, how long would it take him, or would he ever figure out, would he ever land on until he had just like definite evidence whether or not,
right.
This guy,
he doesn't have a gut instinct,
is who he says he is. Yeah.
Right.
There's something to be said for being able to look into somebody's eyes and get a sense of
size them up. Right.
And it doesn't mean that you're right all the time, but you can, in as benevolent a way as possible, kind of, maneuver them into giving you the truth. You can't do that if you don't have a poker face.
Right.
And if you can't, like you said, size them up.
Right.
Mr. Roboto, $2 super chat. Cap, why wouldn't Picard not just steal DNA? I don't know what you mean. Steal? I'm not sure what you. It says seal DNA. I'm assuming you mean steal. I don't know what you mean.
Seal. Do
you mean from? Oh, are you talking about? I'm sorry, Mr. Roboto. Just try to give me a complete sentence because I don't entirely know what you're talking about. I'm assuming he means from Jirok, like to figure out who he is. Well, the thing is, they don't have a lot of information on the Romulans, so even if he had his DNA, I would be surprised if he could from that tell who it is, because it's not like they would have a record of all these Romulans. I love the color of that drink, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very weird. It looks like cranberry juice.
Oh, he says Sela. Just test Sela's DNA.
Oh, test her DNA to see if she is who she is. Don't they do that?
I think they do that, yeah.
Maybe they don't. I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure. And then they're like, well, she appears to be who she says she is because she's... I'm pretty sure she submitted to that. Because she comes on the ship in Redemption.
She comes on the ship, right. Is this when he takes him to the Valley of Chula?
Yes, no, I agree. Seal is the best Star Trek character. He was captain of the USS Kiss from a Rose. No, I really appreciate you laughing at that joke. Thanks a lot. I agree with Brandon.
Say that again. Sorry, I was concentrating on his awesome
No,
speech.
that's I mean, you feel free to enjoy this episode that we're supposed to be watching. Brandon, those light-up tables remind me of those desks you could get when you were a kid, for tracing paper. Remember those light-up desks?
Yeah.
Like every time every time I went in 10 forward, I would bring tracing paper.
Or they look like a light room, or something like, where you lay contact sheets down when you do photography or whatever.
This is one of my favorite matte paintings. It's cool looking.
It's the Valley of Chula.
The Valley of Chula.
But their knowledge of Romulus is quite limited.
Yes, but they
have this.
But they have that. That's a really good point you're making.
He has the same reaction.
It's a point they just made like less than 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, how do they know what that looks like? That's a good point, Brandon.
He has a similar reaction here that Scotty has when he recreates the Enterprise and Relics.
He says cancel program. Why didn't he say end program?
Cancel.
Because it's season 3 and we haven't figured out all the lingo yet. At least we're still not. At least we've finally gotten away from reverse parking orbit. And I think we're still saying sometimes, maybe even in this episode, I think we're still saying uncloak instead of decloak. I hate uncloak. It just sounds so unprofessional to me. Oh, this camera move is great.
Yeah. It's still not as. The worst, I think, is still. It's either something on this detector circuit. That's in Far Point, I think. And
then Uhura's classic, really early Space Fleet command.
Space Fleet command. USPA.
USPA, yes, for that! I'm so glad we never said that again.
USPA.
Wow, that guy could have played Gowron. Did you see his eyes?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
That Admiral was just like...
His eye got real big at the end.
I think you should consider him an unreliable source of information.
He had an ensign escort the Romulan to the ready room.
I don't think... And, I mean, this guy's awesome as Admiral Jirag, don't get me wrong, but I don't think any Cardassian, with all the crazy stuff, gunk that they have to put on in their uniforms, even though they're wearing the head things, ever looks as uncomfortable as he does right there standing in that
uniform. Wearing those shoulder pads and
look
stuff.
how uncomfortable he looks.
The Romulan uniforms are really ugly.
At least they're not like the Klingon suits, though, where every time they move, you can hear it. Like the Klingon uniforms are
well, that's armor for you, right?
That's leather.
Leather and metal. Yeah. Your credibility is stretched.
Yes, that's a great line. Oh, this is the
crossing
best Picard moment. This is that. Yes. But yeah, this is a wonderful.
Look at that, 5 yeses.
This is a wonderful exchange. This is the closest we get to a great Picard speech in this.
Not a man of peace.
But you are not a man of peace. I feel like this is the big precedent in precursor Adam to all the Cardassian stuff we get later.
Yes.
Just in the way Moore is writing this. I'm not suggesting that the Cardassians are too much like the Romulans, but that becomes the place where we do all the really interesting...
Gray.
Like, what's that?
Like, more like the nuance and gray area of, like...
That we should have gotten to keep doing with the Romulans. It's almost like we trade them in for the Cardassians when we get to DS9. Don't you think?
Right. I think one of the epitome of that might be, Damar, how he starts out as just this lackey for Dukat and stuff, and becomes this, a hero, a liberator and stuff.
You almost, with the Cardassians, get the best of both worlds between the Romulans and the Klingons, right? Because they're as deceptive and conniving as the Romulans, but they also get really aggressive and are more proactive than the Romulans, I would say.
Right.
What are you saying?
Yeah, it's Cardassian's idea to do the whole, it's that guy, Tain.
Yeah.
His whole idea to get them involved with their little let's go kill all the founders, which jumpstarts everything.
Yeah, good stuff.
That episode has one of my favorite lines when Odo goes, "You blew up your own shop, Garrick."
So I love how he backs Picard into a corner here, where it's like, oh crap, he's got me. I cannot relate to family. He's about to say, this is all very interesting. That's the best. Yes, this, like, now he's got me. I think the reason Picard is most angry right now is not just because this is a place where like Jirok is more of like, seems like more of a feeling human being and has more life experience, but also because he just had this killer speech and Jirok's gonna walk all over it with a thing that he cannot refute. Just right after he says, so you can dance on the edge of the neutral zone, and you make yourself comfortable with that. And the very next thing Jirok says is, you don't have any kids, do you, Picard? And he's like, damn it!
Hey, look, they're in the same room as me.
I love it. He's in the same room as you. You've got his chair.
I mean, I was waiting for a break in the conversation to say that. Like, can you hear them from where you're sitting, Adam?
Yeah, right there. We'll grow up.
Of course, obviously, it's great that Jirok has a point of view. And that you can see where he's coming from. But at the same time, Picard's absolutely right that, like, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too.
His eyes twitched a little bit. It was a great move.
This is one of the best episodes about loyalty, I guess, is my big takeaway from this. Where it's like, on the one hand, he's got to do what he feels is right. Like, the Romulans have gone too far and he can't continue to support what they've been doing. And for the sake of his children. Like, he may not do this if he was like Picard and had no family. But on the other hand, you can't both be loyal to your people and not loyal to you. You gotta pick a side at some point.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of great Star Trek, especially about political stuff, is about gray area. This is an episode that's about how you, at the end of the day, have to pick something.
And here goes the Enterprise. So when he says that he's provided them with the strategic locations and the tactical firepower and the manpower, like they all get these gaspy looks on their faces.
I didn't remember the Treaty of Algernon being mentioned this early.
I didn't remember them mentioning that early.
No. Oh, that's awesome.
And I guess they brought it back as
in Pegasus, because I always think of Pegasus as
treaty. You can't have a cloaking device.
Okay.
Yeah, I always thought the Pegasus.
So they hadn't decided that that's why we couldn't use the cloak yet. It's kind of weird that we don't finally flesh that out until 7.
Right.
But since I always thought a Trekkian political thriller had legs, like still that Trek optimism, but well, I guess I'm thinking about, and then he trails off. I don't know what he's talking about, but yeah, I mean, DS9 is very often a straight up political thriller. Like, we did have that. And as I've said a million times, it does, in my opinion, still have Trek optimism. I don't think it gets too far away from the kind of mission statement of Star Trek. It just challenges it to then reinforce it, which is wonderful.
Who is this other guy at the helm? I don't recognize him.
Random guy.
Random guy. There's another
He's
random
Commander
guy.
Macduff!
Too.
Macduff! That planet looks cool.
But yeah, Solar Dragon, you don't have to do a show about Section 31 in order to get that. You can do political thriller stuff without having to resort to that. I don't have any problem with the idea of a show, and there was talk about it before Enterprise, like set, on Earth. It's it's hard to get a lot of action in a show like that, or it kind of very quickly turns into either not a utopia or we have to do yet another war show, which I don't love. But you can have a very talky, nuanced, character-driven drama set at Federation headquarters. There have to be interesting things that go on there. No base!
Nirvana 3, Admiral, no base. What?
And I love that they pulled the wool over his eyes the way they do. That, like, as much as he is steeped in the deception tactics of the Romulans, they can do the same thing to him. Well, it's not only possible, it's probably routine, I would think. Right. They're Romulans. Question. Have we revealed the Tal Shiar as a thing yet by this point? Because they don't come up in this episode at all.
Mention it. Yeah, I'm not sure where it first gets brought up.
Surely it's not... Yes. Surely it's not unification. Is it surely it's pre-unification?
No, I think it's before that. That's great. I love Picard's little bluff here. At your earliest convenience, #1.
I also love that Picard is so done with this situation.
It's like, I'm out of this.
Like, he has...
Enough. Let's go.
He has no patience anymore for this. And I also want to think that part of it is because of the low blow of you don't have kids. But, like, he's really done talking to Admiral Drock after that.
All over the horseshoe.
If I got to be a guest star on Star Trek, the one big thing I would really hope was in the script is I get to trip and fall when the ship shakes. Yeah.
Trip and fall, yes.
Not just this happens, but like I want to fall over.
There's some people that really like get into it, like hit the wall and stuff.
But no, Mr. Roboto, when you say with Troy, I'm assuming you're talking about Face of the Enemy. That's way... Like, the Face of the Enemy is after unification. Like, that can't be the first place that we talk about the Tal Shiar.
It's one of the few times we see real Tomalak.
Actual Tomalak. He's going to appear, I believe, 4 times, and twice he's not actually Tomalak.
Yeah, not actually Tomalak.
Once again, one of the best characters in Babylon 5.
Yes.
He's awesome.
And he played the one-armed man in the 1993 version of The Fugitive.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. He must really enjoy being in TNG and not having to be caked up in all that makeup.
All that
when
makeup.
He's Jakar. Yeah. But yeah, we've said this before, but Tomalak needed to be in more episodes.
Yes.
We needed to see him more. And it sucks that he's not in any of the like, really major stuff. With right. Like, he doesn't feature at all in Unification. He should have.
Right.
Well, I say that. But if he's supposed to be patrolling the neutral, like, we usually see him at the neutral zone. Maybe Tomalak, it's hard to buy that he would show up in an episode where we go to the planet, right?
Right.
Maybe that's hard to do.
Well, and he wouldn't. It's not like he would have been taken, or Andreas Catullus would have been taken up with Babylon 5 at this point, because the first season of that show ran concurrently with the final season of this show.
Right. No, I never thought it was because of that.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that. Yeah, they should have had him back.
But why even have a recurring Romulan if you're not going to ever do anything with him?
Right.
He's got this tete-a-tete with Picard. Was like, we meet again for the second and the last time. Do we ever see him again, even after this, where it's actually him?
This is the last time we see him.
That's insane. So it's going to be Future Imperfect, and it's going to be all good things, and that's it. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, that's stupid. Because he's great.
This one, he says, I'm going to take the broken hull of the Enterprise back.
Yeah.
Oh, Busted Sim says the Tal Shiar actually aren't mentioned until Face of the Enemy. That's crazy.
Really?
They aren't even name dropped in Unification, according to Memory Alpha,
Wow.
says Busted Sim.
Wow.
Okay, all right.
This is a Kirk maneuver.
Oh, yes. This is where Picard can get away. Wait, that's cool. I didn't remember that.
Yes.
We get the motion picture Klingon music when the Klingons show up.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
They had such a great sense of continuity, and I don't just mean continuity of events. I mean continuity of tone. You know,
Right.
it's like this is in the same world as those movies, and we are making it
Right.
for the same people that like that stuff. I mean, it's just wonderful. Because what's awesome is when they start decloaking, if you're a big Trek person and you hear ba-da, ba-da, you're immediately going,
Right.
oh crap. You either are thinking, oh my god, Klingons, or wait, don't they know what that music is for? And then you see Klingons and you go, oh boy, they do know
Yeah.
that. Stephen
That was
Murphy
such a
says,
great move.
of course, Katsoulis is no longer with us. One of several Bab 5 actors is no longer alive. Yeah, unfortunately,
that
a lot of
show's
people
Kurt.
from that show have died. Probably why, other than JMS, probably having control over it and lack of interest, there's been no revival. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's been forgotten. It's sad.
That's a broken man right there. Broken Romulan.
Oh, I thought you meant that guy in the hallway.
No. That's why I
He has to
clarified.
stand. That's his job, standing outside. You just made that word up. For Lotus, didn't you?
I want that. I want that guy in
Oh,
the
look,
hallway.
there's the weird window. Look.
Oh
the
yeah,
quarters with the blinds.
that belongs in
It's
Star
like an
Wars.
office building.
So the guy that guy just standing there, the security guy in the hallway. I want that to be who Picard turns into when he makes different choices in Tapestry, where he's just looking at that guy in the hallway and he goes, "That man is bereft of passion and imagination."
So Picard changes his tune a little bit from being like utterly annoyed with
And
with
then
him.
he respects him by the end.
He respects him at the end, and I really like that progression. I think
And
it
I like
works.
how and I like how part of it is because he can't relate to him. Because partly because again he's not a family man,
Right, he learns something.
And Picard has never had to deal with that kind of question of loyalty versus ethics, really, because he works for what he thinks at the time, at least, is more or less a benign Federation or a benign Starfleet.
Right.
He will, interestingly, deal with some of those kinds of things later. Never to the degree, of course, as this guy. He's never going to get to a place where he thinks he would maybe have to defect to to another organization.
Well, unless you're talking
right.
about the first episode of Picard, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. No, when we get into that completely non-canonical thing that shouldn't have the word Star Trek on it, he actually does basically exactly that. He just quits, and then has his best friend hate him for just because she lost her job. Yeah. Anyway, she had no problem with it until she lost her job. She's like, "Wow, you left? Now I hate you forever. I just got a call where I lost my job." Sorry, Adam. What?
Yeah, I was like, why didn't you get another job?
Why are you so? Do you remember that in that scene where she's just like?
Why did she get? It's like she gave up and then decided to live in a trailer out in the middle of nowhere.
It's not in the middle of nowhere. It's at Vasquez Rocks.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Not just in front of what
Important
looks
place.
like Vasquez Rocks. Brandon, when we get there, they put up an intertitle that says Vasquez Rocks. That's where she
Okay.
lives.
All right.
It's ridiculous. How did they put Vasquez Rock itself in Star Trek as Vasquez Rock? Anyway.
Right.
Well, guys, it is just 20 to 9. We're not actually doing too bad. You guys want to go ahead and knock another one out?
I don't mind.
What-
Honestly.
Sure.
What do you think, Adam? Should we go ahead and knock another one out? Okay, let's spin the wheel.
Sure.
Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come right back. So, let's find out what our last episode for this evening is going to be.
Do it.
And Brandon, why don't you spin it? You can
Okay.
click the button.
Oh, awesome.
That way, if
Push
it's
the
one we don't
button.
want to watch, we can blame Brandon.
I'm just kidding. We're gonna watch Retrospect. Wait, is that one that we watched and I forgot to take it off? It's not, is it?
What is Retrospect? What is it?
That is ringing bells because
Retrospect is where you start thinking about something.
Thanks for explaining Retrospect. It's a Voyager episode.
Is it Voyager?
Yeah. Now I wish we weren't watching another episode.
But isn't that the one we?
Oh, it's the assault episode, the one I cannot remember at all.
Yeah. That's that one. I just watched that recently with Sarah, and I couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah, that's the one where Seven is sure that she got assaulted, and the doctor comes to her rescue, and everybody's skeptical and questions it, but the doctor is sure she's right, but then turns out that she's not. That's that episode. But I guess that's what we have to watch because we spun it. So
well, you gave us such a rousing rendition of it. I feel like we just watched it.
Well, I mean, I don't feel the need to be careful about spoilers when we're talking over things.
No.
I'm just looking at all these episodes around it, and I'm like...
I was here when you guys watched that, but I fell asleep while I was laying on the floor watching it.
That's hilarious.
I woke up at the end.
It's like I don't even remember the ending. I was sleeping. We have a pretty comfortable floor.
I've slept on hardwood before,
It's not hardwood, by the way.
No, it's carpet, but I'm just saying I've slept on hardwood, so like I can sleep on just about anything. Concrete would be a new one.
Okay, Mr. Roboto, we'll get to your super chat here in a minute, right after we get back. Busta Sim, great, Cap summed it up. Now we don't have to watch it. We didn't already watch this, but we've watched another episode or two that are like unmemorable and this sort of thing, and that's why it feels like we did it already. We haven't done this already, have we? I don't think we have.
We have not.
Okay.
We have not.
Well, that's a little bit of a bummer, but we're gonna go ahead and do it because we spun it. So, everybody, a 5-minute break. And we will be right back to watch Retrospect. It's episode 17 of season 4, so go ahead and pull that up so you can watch it with us, and we'll see you in just a bit. All right, folks, we'll just wait for Adam here. And then we'll get into Retrospect. I can't wait. It's not a terrible episode or anything, but... Here he comes.
Where have you been? We've been here for 5 minutes waiting for you.
No, we haven't. That is not true. We can't hear you.
You have not been there,
There you
for
go.
5 minutes. I saw you lurking there, Brandon.
Brandon's just talking to me. He sits down and he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm in the camera. I didn't realize." I'm like, buddy, you know where it is, right?
This chair out, this kitchen chair, is not meant to be sat in for any length of time. It
Why
is
don't
not
you
comfortable.
just
You need the
get
chair
the
behind
one
you.
that's right behind you?
I know, I gotta get that comfy chair, man. Yeah.
Like, why don't you have a chair that looks like that? Because that'd be hilarious.
And now Guinan's gonna say, and that is now your chair.
But then if you use that backdrop, you'd have to Photoshop it out of that backdrop.
Maybe. There could just be multiple chairs. Do you have to climb over it like Riker?
Yes.
I don't think that chair you actually would climb over like Riker. Because of the way it sits.
Hard.
It'd be kind of weird. Yeah.
That might be the one he just puts his leg up
You'd have
on.
to pole vault over it. Well, anyway.
Forward chairs. The 10 forward chairs are the ones that are.
He is a lanky, but he does it in the ready room too.
Okay, so everybody ready for Angsty 7 of 9? Everybody ready for a 7 of 9 who is not used to thinking about personal violation and then what she does being really ready to just punch people? Let's watch that. All right. Get it timestamp 0. Make sure you're watching Retrospect. It's the 17th episode of Season 4.
All right. 17th episode, Season 4.
Busta Sim says, to put my Voyager Season 4 DVD in, I had to take my Simpsons Season 5 DVD out. Can we just watch that instead?
Well,
Unfortunately,
put it on the wheel
no.
of Star Trek.
No, you can't. Don't listen to Brandon. You can't just put random other things on the wheel, okay?
What if it was other Star Trek related things?
I will eventually start taking requests for episodes of Orville, but beyond that, I don't know what else we would do. I want to rewatch that show before I do anything live on it. I just don't know it that well.
The Frasier episode where Frasier delivers his little speech at Freddy's bar mitzvah in Klingon because he thinks it's Hebrew.
No.
He got tricked.
No,
No.
That's the thing I never liked doing in Star Trek Club. I'd get requests from people that would come to Club that would want to watch an entire thing for one scene that was a reference. And I'm like, I mean, I'll show the scene maybe, but I don't want that to be the episode we watched that week. It's like, you watch you watch 17 minutes into a 22-minute thing before it finally gets to the reason you watched it in the first place. I'm like, why are we doing this? I don't know. That's always irritating. But yeah, I mean, some Trek-related things I would be willing to do on the show. We've already done a commentary on Galaxy Quest, so we won't do that.
Yes.
But we could all get uncomfortable and watch Free Enterprise. I guess I wouldn't be completely opposed to doing that.
I've never seen that.
Have you not?
No.
I like it okay.
You can watch Trekkers. Or Trekkie. Is it Trekkie?
It's Trekkies. Yeah, and I'm actually totally down with that. That's a movie I know weirdly well. I've seen that several times. And I have the sequel, too. But that would be harder to try to sync with people because I don't think anybody else owns that.
Right, because not everybody has that.
Yeah.
That lady that wore her uniform to the jury.
She comes back.
That's the one part I remember.
And she comes back in Trekkies, too. They have you ever seen Trekkies, too?
I've not seen Trekkies 2.
Yeah, she comes back, and so does the really nerdy guy that made fan films. That famously screams at his friend for calling while the film crew's there.
Oh, that part, yes.
Remember that guy? and whose dad built his minivan into a shuttlecraft or whatever. But yeah,
picture makes the rounds on the net.
We should do Trekkies. How well do you know that movie?
I don't. I have never seen it.
Have you never seen Trekkies? Yo, we'll do a blind watch of Trekkies. That'd be fun. Where Adam's like I've seen it a bunch of times. Adam's probably seen it once or twice. Okay, and then Brandon doesn't know. How do you not know Trekkies? Did we never watch it in Cologne?
I never watched. If you did, I wasn't there for it.
Wow, I totally thought I showed you that.
Nope.
One of these weeks, you know what? I'm gonna put it on the wheel.
Okay.
Put it on the wheel.
Captain's prerogative.
I'm gonna think about putting it on the wheel. The problem is I need to make sure that it's streaming somewhere so other people can watch it with us. Because That's not a thing that a lot of people are going to be able to just fish out. So, anyway. All right, let's go ahead and watch Retrospect.
That's going to be the exclusive episode of Star Trek Club where only if you have it you can watch.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
we're
Patreon episode.
But a lot of people listen to these without watching the episode anyway, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal to a lot of people, I'm sure. But I like to make sure that most things are at least findable in some way, or that it's something that most people would own. That is not a thing most people would own. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Timestamp 0. Everybody, please press play right now.
Dramatic theme playing.
Still wish you said engage.
Oh, Voyager's just blowing up things.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool graphic, though.
Yeah, we're getting more into the
Monotanium
CGI era now. What is this guy's name? I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and I cannot think, but I can't place him.
Am I right? Is he in another Trek episode or two?
He might be.
I feel like he is. He's a character actor. I don't love trying to look up things. I mean, feel free to, but like, I hate to make these just look up things, the commentary, but
yeah.
So here's another humanoid species that just has weird forehead ridges, right?
Yeah. Like, what is the rod for? Like, why would you evolve that?
I don't know. Why does it have these stretchy skin things?
Does it go into his brain?
It might be a biometric enhancement.
Can he use it to intravenously feed himself? Like, it comes out in a weird place that you can't see, and then you can just, like, pour Kool-Aid in it, and then it goes up into your brain and every other part of your body.
So he was in First Contact. He played some guy in Lieutenant Daniels. He was in First Contact and Insurrection.
Oh, weird!
Yeah.
That must be where I recognize him from, though.
Yeah. Interesting.
So wait, did she just say isolinear chips? Or was she talking about some other kind of chips?
She's gonna give up her bioneural gel packs.
So do they I was gonna say, does their system use both?
Yes.
To some degree?
Yes. So
Brandon, I want
to point.
I want to address something that somebody, just because this is the place to talk about it, that and nobody cares that much about this episode, I'm sure. That somebody left a comment and disputed something that we said when we were reviewing Lower Decks, where I complained. I knew somebody would say I was nitpicking too much. Remember, I even got in front of it. I was like, I know I'm nitpicking. I got to say this though.
I remember you said that.
So I said, why in like 2390 or post Nemesis, wherever we are, would you have a grid holodeck?
Yeah.
Like, we've moved past, like, clearly just use that because that's what it looks like on TNG, and
I guess it's an older ship, maybe it would have.
It's not though, and it really doesn't look like it is, and so it just seems like they're kind of trying to tug at your nostalgia strings and do the most recognizable stuff possible, and I'm like, why would they do that? Well, somebody left a comment and said, well, it's not that big of a deal that they use the grid. It's not like they're using bioneural gel packs. To which I respond, that was experimental, and not every ship used that. Right. It's not like after Voyager, every ship is doing bioneural gel packs, and you never see the grid holodeck post TNG. Furthermore, the Enterprise E is using a different kind of holodeck. Like, nobody has in a later ship. So yeah, if it's a ship that was flying around during that period, sure, but if it's a more recent ship, the sense I got was that the technology had improved and required a different looking setup.
Right, well, that is the new technology. It's not that it required a different setup, it's that the new setups look different.
No, but I'm saying in order to use the better technology, I would assume it would require that new setup.
The better technology just looks different. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Beeping. Love it.
That lady's really short. Did you see that woman back standing at the console there? She looked like she couldn't stand up with a railing.
So later on, she's gonna think that he stole her nanoprobes, that he knocked her out and stole her nanoprobes, and did kind of, this is sort of like Seven's version of Violations from TNG, kind of.
Right.
And
so I don't like.
If memory serves, that is this episode, right?
So who is that other engineer?
Yeah. I'm trying to think here. Which one is it? Violations is okay. The other one where Deanna gets old, that's a terrible episode. What is that called?
Where Deanna gets old.
Oh yeah,
She has.
I don't remember.
Like, this guy's got like his women, and he's taking like their life force.
Yeah, Busted Sim, we're just starting the titles. We're at around 442, 444. But yeah, some of these kinds of episodes run together. Like I said, I just watched this a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure that's it. But anyway,
I remember this. I remember this episode a little bit now. It's coming back to me.
But yeah, I was just gonna say that he was uncomfortably close to her, and nobody should be surprised later that she doesn't trust that guy.
Or that she lashed out at him, because, I mean, you don't get that close to 7 of 9.
Yeah. I mean, it would be really funny, though, if that was the only reason. It was just like, quit looking over my shoulder while I'm trying to work. Ugh!
Right.
I want Seven to have, like, this impulse. I always thought it'd be funny if when we first bring Seven on board, she doesn't even do this on purpose. Just her initial impulse all the time is to assimilate people, and she just can't. She just has a hard time turning it off. She just accidentally, shoots the tubules out.
Take her hand away.
Yeah, like,
we don't do that.
Somebody...
Stop.
You don't do that.
No.
No.
Yeah, treat her like a 2-year-old. Like, no.
Don't assimilate. We don't assimilate.
Now, not 7.
You put your hand on her shoulder, and just immediately she goes, psh, and it's, oh crap, I did it again. I'm so sorry. You're filled with nanoprobes. I'm so sorry.
Janeway's hair is different yet again. Look at this.
Yes, cinematographic. We're watching Voyager. Tom says Voyager has the most beautiful intro. It's pretty.
They have a nice intro. I like her little pregnancy hiding coat or whatever that she has.
Push those ridges into his skull.
I like how by the 24th century they still haven't figured out that it actually doesn't really do anything to hold your head back when you have a bloody nose.
Yeah. He's not even, like, shining it on his nose. He's shining it on his forehead.
Yeah.
On those ridges.
And this has the same problem as the Defector did toward the beginning, where it's like, why can't you just get rid of it right away with the dermal regenerator?
But that's where the blood is, but the damage is in the nose.
No, I know that, but when he tilts his head back, you have to assume that it's because the blood is still coming out.
No, it is, but what Adam said,
by now.
Adam said he's not even doing it where the blood is. That's because the damage is inside.
Oh, Lisa Clank.
Her and Brian Fuller wrote this together, I guess.
So when I'm in a setting where I can use more explicit language,
we have no
there are a couple
to fit your crime.
When I'm watching Voyager, there's a couple of names that I always say when they come up in particularly when it's like for story or writing credit. F you, Lisa Clink.
Clink.
Yeah. Yep, same thing with Kenneth Miller. F you, Kenneth Miller!
Well, his name was on here earlier,
it should
too.
Be. Oh, man, that's a double whammy is what that is.
But he didn't write it.
That surprises me in
I don't know,
no
one of the
way.
producer or whatever he was.
Yeah. Oh, well, his name's going to show up every time, yeah. For
right.
that. And... why does Janeway always get uncomfortably close to, she's always looking up her nose, it seems.
That is the way we block this show, particularly once Jerry Ryan comes aboard. We are constantly putting her and Janeway, like, this close together all the time. It's hilarious.
Even her and the Doctor are very close in this shot.
That's just TV.
Well,
but
it's TV
but we'll get really close.
Square.
Especially, again, with scenes with Janeway. No, this is not that close for TV.
No, and I understand that, but still, I feel like we got wider shots in TNG.
Busted Sim, how have we watched 2 episodes of season 4 in 2 weeks and missed all the good ones? It's not my fault, okay? They're being put on the wheel by people who, for whatever reason, really want to watch them.
Hey,
Although, that one from last week was a roller coaster for me. No, that's a good point.
The season 7 one.
Yeah, but why? That's true. That was 7. But yeah, I don't know why we're watching as much season 4 as we are. I think Tom's been picking a lot of season 4. Butts and Sim, even though the actors hate each other, no wonder Jerry Ryan had such anxiety. Yeah, no kidding. It's like here's these actors who clearly aren't getting along that well, and Kate Mulgrew is constantly making things kind of difficult for Jerry Ryan, and unhappy that she's kind of stealing the limelight, and then directors constantly blocking them so they have to be this close together.
Well, yeah, that's definitely like violations there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But not as good. Not as good.
Yeah, and I empathize with when you do this many episodes of television, and especially when you're a lot of the same people are working on the newer shows that were making shows before. It's going to be difficult not to sometimes repeat yourself and not to just kind of take an idea that you had before and tweak it, or more often come up with a unique idea and then go, oh wait, we did something sort of like this, but not really. Should we make that episode? Like, I empathize with that. And sometimes we'll legitimately, I don't have a great example right on top of my head, but we will legitimately improve on episodes sometimes. One of my favorite things about the Orville is that we'll sandwich very often in that show like 6 episodes together. There's a little bit of this in that, there's a little bit of this in that, and that's where a lot of my fun with that show comes from.
Right.
So here's a question. So the Voyager ship is CGI.
Was that a footrest? Why is that there? Sorry, did you notice that?
No.
So the Doctor has a chair in front of a console, and then he's got this little stool right in front of the chair. Is it a footrest? What? Sorry, what?
Apparently so.
Maybe it belonged to the original Voyager Doctor, and he just kept it around.
Very short, and he sat on it. That was his chair.
So Voyager is a CGI ship. Did they ever screw up the design in some way, like that you could see on screen?
What do you mean?
Like you see the outside of the ship from time to time. Did they ever get it wrong by accident, like in one scene, like they forgot to put something on it or something like
the CGI?
Yeah, the CGI.
Why would that happen though? You'd still be working with a
compared
model.
To like the model,
like it's a CG model, but it's the same thing that you do in animation, Brandon, where you use a stock model every time, and you might add things to it when you mess up stuff, but like it's not like you make it from scratch every time.
But it could
it's
be
a
messed
template.
Up. It could be messed up from time to time. I just wondered if it ever happened.
I don't see why that would happen. I'm pretty sure if it does, I never noticed it, but I don't even know why that would happen.
Stranger things have happened.
Okay.
But I mean, like, with 2D cell animation, you'd have weird color swaps and things that would happen, partly because you'd send out stuff, you'd farm out stuff to different animation companies. You're not doing that in a live action show where you have the same people working with CG all the time. Like, you'd have a CG model that you'd put in a shot.
No, but there are instances like even in big budget like motion pictures where all of a sudden like somebody's glasses are missing, like in a Pixar film or something like that, or just something's not there that should be there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a ship though, I don't know.
And we don't do a lot of real heavy action with this. Like that kind of thing's going to happen because in a thing like Pixar, where characters are constantly moving and having to have things changed out and changing outfits and all kinds of things.
Right.
It's
I know it's
like a moving piece of like scenery basically.
Yeah.
Busted Sim says, Brandon, in DS9 there were screw-ups with the Defiant in terms of proportions. Yeah, I mean, that would happen, but the actual thing would always look the same.
Right.
Busted Sim, there's one shot of the Defiant flying into a big fight where it's clearly off-model. Yeah. Tom, 7 is the only Borg on the ship, right? Why are there multiple Borg alcoves? I'll tell you why. It's because there were several Borg there in Scorpion, and I guess they just never took the other ones out.
They were all integrated.
They left them, I guess.
You'd think they would. You'd think they'd pull them out.
She always uses the same one. You notice that?
Well, that's her.
It's her favorite.
Alcove.
It's her favorite alcove.
Yeah. I think what happened was everybody took Janeway really literally when she said, well, if the Borg technology improves the ship, leave it. Because at the end of Scorpion, she says that, or maybe it's the gift, maybe it's the next episode, but she says, Chakotay or somebody says, like it's actually really increasing efficiency. I don't know if we should leave. She's, yeah, just leave it. So I guess they left everything, including alcoves no one is using, and then conveniently then, when the Borg kids show up, in Collective, then they don't have to add them. They're just there already.
Right, they're there already.
So, is this the first time that Seven comes to a false conclusion?
I think so, and then I think I maybe know where you're going with this, but go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I was just going to say, it seems to happen a few times.
Are you going to bring up the Voyager conspiracy?
Yes,
Because you'd think maybe she would think back to this and be like, well, I've been wrong before when I've relied on memory and things that... conclusions I might be jumping to because of my Borg technology. I can't remember how much of a factor that is in this, though, if it really has anything to do with, what regulates, the Borg implants that, regulate her body functions and stuff, but...
Also, I don't remember. Does the Doctor learn from this that maybe some of his methods aren't always the...
Yeah, I would say he actually does sort of grow from this, even though we never talk about it again. Or you could pretty easily make the case that he does, because very soon after this, he's going to start getting even a lot more into, trying to teach Seven of Nine, good etiquette. And you could make the argument that part of that is him trying to learn it himself. Like, he starts researching it really hard and being like, I was very confident. I thought I had social cues all figured out, and then I really botched this up.
Right. Has he been in this episode yet?
No, he's only in a flashback. Do you think the filter is necessary with this flashback? Because I don't.
Weird blue filter. Yeah.
I think we're just doing it not just to differentiate between the scenes that take place in the present and the past, because we do flashback episodes where we don't do this kind of thing. I think they're trying to make it kind of creepy, or you could make the argument that maybe the idea is we're doing this because we're not sure what the truth is. And so we're supposed to question this Are we supposed to question this flashback? I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
So never mind.
They do it on Babylon 5, it's always like black and white a lot of the time.
I like that actually. Yeah, Smallville does this too in episodes where there's one episode in particular in the second season where you get a bunch of people's perspectives on a murder or an attempted murder, and most of them are incorrect. So you see them with a weird filter, so you can go, this is allegedly what it was like, and also memory is hazy. So we put a hazy.
So it's like their Rashomon episode or whatever of Smallville.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically Who Shot Lionel Luthor.
Wow.
Insurgents, or is that a different episode? I forget. Anyway.
I was going to say something, I totally forgot what it was.
They use that prop a lot, that cortical stimulator or whatever they call it.
Oh, yeah. Did we ever discuss in this episode why Janeway's trading Federation technology for weapons?
Yeah, what's going on with that whole deal?
Say it again.
Did we ever discuss in this episode why Janeway is trading Federation technology for weapons? Because that seems like a blatant violation of Prime Directive.
Yeah,
a little bit. Because she's always talking about not letting technology get out.
Yeah, now that you say that, I was wondering that myself. And I guess it's a dicey thing, because it's like if you have, I don't know.
Like, are they entering a more dangerous area of space that they need weapons or different firepower?
They might trade it if they aren't. It's like something that already exists in their society. Maybe they're introducing.
But are they giving these guys weapons, or are they just selling other things for weapons for themselves?
She traded isolinear chips at the beginning, and told them that they would teach them how to integrate them. So they don't have isolinear chips,
right?
But they have something comparable,
right?
So
they
maybe
have something comparable, right?
So as far as we know, she's just trading she's traded other things, but also a lot of isolinear
I thought
ships.
the idea. Well, okay, so I thought you were part of what you were asking was kind of the ethical question of should you give other species weapons, but if they're just taking weapons, then
They're just taking weapons.
Then that's not really the question. Now I wonder why these guys are okay with selling this random ship flying by weapons.
Right.
But okay, no, we're using them for hunting. But it's just for hunting. But but then the other question is, like, how far does your technology have to go before the Federation will trade with you, and like what is the line of what kinds of things you'll trade, right? So very often it's they're warp capable, so at that point the Prime Directive doesn't apply in the same way. So it's like we don't want to give like weapons technology to the Kazon because they're primitive but also scary and do bad things to people.
But we'll take technology.
Yeah, Janeway doesn't even give replicator technology. Well, I guess because they replicate weapons.
Well, remember, she gave holodeck technology
to the Herosian, but that's maybe a little bit different because they're at a different place in their development, I guess, and also it was like a last resort kind of choice.
And the hologram technology is not as, I guess,
dangerous.
You can't really make weapons with it, I don't think.
You can't accidentally. It kills people all the time.
It's also not
inside the holodeck.
Inside it, yeah.
It's also
you'd
not
have
as
to throw somebody in
Federation
there first, so you could use it as a torture chamber, is what you're saying.
It's also not as Federation specific. There are other cultures that utilize that type of technology.
You could say that about everything the Federation has, though. There's not one thing we have in like Starfleet in general, like. And a lot of the stuff we have developed from other cultures also, Brandon.
That's
like
true.
the Federation is, for lack of a better term, a melting pot, right? Like,
yeah, but I still.
What is one thing unique to us that no one else has? Like, we find people with replicators all the time. We find people with transporters all the time. We find people with holodecks all the time. We find people in Enterprise before we have any of that stuff several times that have those things.
Brandon, you didn't say that you wanted the table.
I've long since gotten over that.
But yeah, I don't know.
Table.
I don't know that it's. I don't know that it's necessarily hypocritical. I can see why somebody might think that, but I don't know that it's necessarily hypocritical that we would take weapons, but we're not going to give weapons. Because like every culture's got to make that decision for themselves. I would think.
I think it's just trading the Federation technology is where I'm coming from. But yeah, it's still involving weapons is a little murky to me. But I can imagine they want to up their arsenal.
Let me ask you this, because it is a fair question you're bringing up. Let me compare it to another thing in Voyager. Okay, so by your logic, because this is a warp capable species, I'm assuming. They are advanced
they're not.
technologically. Okay, so by your standard, then we shouldn't have shown the Malon how to not have to dump their trash.
Right. Is that Federation technology though?
Yeah. It's a technology they don't have that we were going to show. We were going to give them and show them how to use.
Okay.
So you're basically saying we should never give anyone any technology at all, no matter what it is and who they are. As soon as you say these people shouldn't have isolinear ships, you're saying the Malon shouldn't have the technology that.
But isolinear ships are kind of like proprietary. Like you could design another system, right? To that didn't rely on Federation technology. It would have to be Malon technology at that point. But like you could design that system. I think that's a little different, than using,
They didn't design that for them, though. I don't think.
No, they didn't. They were gonna teach them how to integrate it into the technology they had already.
Okay, that's a fair point then.
I just don't see how it's an ethical question.
Some of this, I
just don't see what the
just weapons involved. I guess
the reason you don't want to give that kind of technology to a pre-warp society is because they're not ready. They're not ready to use it yet. They like.
Right.
And because they're not. Like you're affecting the natural development of a culture because they've not decided to go to the stars. Once they have, all bets are off. Is I think the idea with with the Prime Directive. I just don't think like this is generalized, Brandon, but the Prime Directive generally doesn't apply to cultures that have decided to be in space.
That's true.
So when we're talking about like giving weapons away, that ends up not being Prime Directive so much as common sense.
Well,
don't go arm other cultures that could use it against somebody else, of course.
Right, but like the buying of the weapons, I guess, I don't know. It just seemed weird to me, but maybe it's not. So
I also just don't get how
idea.
those weapons are that much better than Voyager's weapons. It's like, here's a phaser rifle that's huger than our phaser rifles.
Well, he talked about it different than he talked about an even different one. He called one a compression rifle.
Yeah, I remember that. And like they tried to make it seem all advanced and fancy, but this episode's boring, by the way, which is why I haven't been talking about it.
Look at all those panels behind him. What do those buttons even do?
Is this Tuvok's quarters?
Yeah.
Why is he in Tuvok's quarters? Okay. Why aren't they in an office right now?
Should be in the interrogation room.
This is his interrogation chamber.
I'm pretty sure
they don't have a special enterprise.
But I'm pretty sure when Quinn goes to Tuvok to ask him to be his advocate, he's in an office, not his quarters. Maybe I'm wrong, though. But I thought he had an office as, the senior security officer.
Nah.
Bag Studios, I'm watching the... Hi, Bag. Thanks, buddy. $5 super chat. I'm watching The Enemy Within right now. I finally understand I'm Captain Kirk. Haha. If it hasn't been done, add Conscience of the King. That's hilarious. He brings up Enemy Within and then tacks on at the end. That's not what I want, though. I want Conscience of the King. Well, Conscience of the King is awesome, and I'm excited to put that on the list, so let's do that. That was in my top 10 list. Adam, does it feel weird doing this show without doing top 10s now?
Yeah.
Because we did it so many weeks in a row? So this guy just lives in a really unreasonable society. Because he lives in a society, it's sort of like the Cardassians, but toned down a little bit, where it's like, you're guilty, and as soon as you're accused, where it's like, it's kind of the equivalent of guilty until proven innocent. He goes, and I love the way he delivers that too. Like, he's obnoxious, but I would be too in his situation, because he just has like a really unreasonable society. So he just goes, "It won't matter. The damage is done." And like, I'd probably be acting like that too if I was that guy. I don't know. So his career is ruined because she's even accused him of something.
It could be, yeah.
Well, no, he's just said it is.
Well,
like,
if they tell the magistrate.
The Matrix behind him there. Did you see that?
But it is going to happen, Brandon.
Yeah.
There's a Matrix.
Busted Sim, ignoring, of course, the private little war where Kirk gave weapons to some indigenous non-warp culture.
Hey, he was trying to just keep the equilibrium or whatever, I guess.
That's interfering.
Busted Sim and I think a couple other people in the comments are talking about how this show is, or this episode is oddly relevant right now because it feels like almost a retroactive answer or like a answer in the past to cancel culture. This is kind of a cancel culture episode. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the Orville to do the cancel culture episode. Because the whole thing with the thumbs up and thumbs down, the whole social media thing that they did, which is maybe their best episode, or one of them anyway, it dances around that. But you also could do a whole thing about just straight up cancel culture. I guess that is.
The Orville had a lot of really relevant issues in the way Star Trek tackled relevant issues.
Yeah, of course, and it was wonderful.
It was great. Okay.
I also have anger
her
toward
performance is a
Coven.
little wooden in this scene, don't you think? Anger towards Coven.
Busted Sim, I don't know if you said this because it's funny, but it is. He said we're talking about the whole cancel culture thing. It says it works in retrospect. Well done. So this is a redress of some set we use constantly.
Yes, it is.
Is it a DS9 set?
It is, but it is, yeah.
I'm going to assume this is a set that we built as a laboratory for DS9.
DS9 has the best sets. I'm going to say that.
I'm just going to lay that out there.
There's no way this hasn't been an alien bridge also.
Oh, look, it's that thing. Yeah. Oh, did you see the thing in the background? It's the thing that they use. That thing, they use that in...
Yeah, that thing they use it all the time.
Next Gen.
It goes back to Star Trek 2.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's the fiber optics through the center of it.
Yeah.
I love identifying props we've used in so many other places.
So I do like that by the end of this episode, of course, the Doctor realizes that he's made this big giant mistake by just, ignoring all the possibilities that this guy could actually be telling the truth and that Seven may be mistaken. But he seems really extreme throughout it. It's hard to fully appreciate why he jumps to the conclusions that he does as quickly as he does. It would almost work better if it was later after he's decided he's in love with her.
Yeah. The Voyager.
Yeah, that was a weird line reading, Picardo. Yeah. I don't know about that. How long have we been watching this episode? God, we still have 15 minutes left. This episode is sloggy.
It's very padded out.
God, you people are all just crazy. Just listen to me already. Of course, so this is one of those weird things where, like, on the one hand, I appreciate that we have a show where the alleged bad guy turns out to actually be innocent the whole time. On the other hand, like, that's kind of sophisticated, I guess. Or at least just, not exactly what you would expect. On the other hand, this episode is extremely not interesting if it turns out that he's just been trying to pull the wool over their eyes the whole time by freaking out.
Right.
It's weird how, in some ways, it's not typical, and in other ways, it's extremely typical. Maybe it's not typical for regular primetime dramas, but extremely typical for Star Trek. Am I right about that? Right. Like, anybody surprised when this guy gets in a shuttle and decides to do, like, a kamikaze move? Like, of course that's what he's gonna do. It's Star Trek, and especially it's Voyager.
Voyager.
I mean, how many times do we...
Did I say it just like Picardo? Voyager.
How many times do we see like another alien like decide that he can go out with his ship,
not just an alien, but anybody, right? Like we do it with Starfleet officer and everybody. We do this constantly. We do it with captains a lot. Janeway, in at least one, if not more places, gets in a shuttle and goes, "I'm going to sacrifice myself for the ship," or
she almost sacrifices the ship in that one where she, where the aliens are drilling into her skull with the...
Yes, but that's a different situation. That's not really what we're talking about.
But still, like, lots of people go, crazy and...
A photonic cannon.
Yes, but that falls more in the canon of self-destruct. Like, that's not any different than a self-destruct.
That's true. Does it?
Busted Sim, as much as we talk about this being a commentary on cancel culture, they could easily do one where Seven and the Doctor were right, because that's how complex the issue is. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular, in the context of this particular example, I think this episode it's not a great episode, but I think it would suck if it turned out that they were...
Right, it would just be boring.
They were right. Yeah. Like, why did we waste all this time? Like, yeah, they're right. Okay.
So is this just the sick bay with all the stuff taken out of it? Is that what they're in right now? It sure looks like it.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Wait, did we redress our sick bay to make this set?
I think they redressed their sick bay.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but they got the pad holder up there that I always notice.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. They took the wall out, the window out, their little office.
Uh-huh. And they tried to make it look smaller. Kinda. Weird. I guess the only thing you could do would be, I mean, there's no way to make them both right, of course, but you could have a situation where he did what they think he did, but for somehow, like, understandable reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the only way that they could be right about it and it actually be interesting.
Yeah.
Thoron.
Where it's like, again, my culture is unreasonable, so nobody's going to understand why I had to do this, but I actually did have to do this. I don't know what that is, but
in the same set with all the stuff back in. Dramatic theme playing.
The Doctor seems self-righteous in his indignation. Is that a little DVD screen down there or something? Portable DVD player.
Oh, you better come look at this. You better come look at this.
But
See,
look into
the
Spock's
only
scanner.
reason it's a scanner that you have to look into like that, Brandon, is so that we can be dramatic about somebody else has to go look at it and go, oh my God, you're right.
Again?
There's no reason whatsoever they couldn't have just put it on a monitor behind them.
Right. Do we ever use that again? And we regularly do put stuff on the monitors.
Yeah, all the time. And
you're crazy.
In Enterprise,
Crazy.
which takes place 200 years before this, we're constantly like, take a look at these nucleotide sequences.
Yes.
How often do you hear that phrase in sickbay, particularly in Enterprise? Take a look at these nucleotide sequences.
Yeah. That and my electric eel, or whatever you thought I was talking about.
Now maybe to give these writers a little bit of credit, to give Lisa Klink, of all people, a little bit of credit, maybe the idea is that a Trek audience is going to be comparing this to Violations the whole time and will actually be more shocked than I was that they're wrong. Because the last time we saw a situation like this, it was exactly what you thought it was.
What was it we said during that? When we watched this episode, we were referring to Coven as COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Oh, I missed that.
Because you said, yeah, I didn't want to just, like, repeat a joke over and over again, but I thought it was funny. It was like, oh, man, she's so angry with Coven. I'm like, me too. I'm very angry with COVID. Makes me angry.
Yeah.
COVID.
Oh, Doctor just turns on a dime and she's like...
Ooh.
Look at that face. Look at that.
And it was like, sheepish, like, whoops. She's like, really?
No, we got doubled down. Oh, well, you shouldn't have said that, Doctor.
Nope.
Oh, my God. Oh, man, you turned her into a vengeance-seeking nutcase. Doc, what are you doing?
Yeah, she's like, really?
It's like Worf following Admiral Satie.
War.
I don't know why Voyager's bridge always has to be lit as dark as it is, but like I've always
that way in like red alert mode.
I've
like
always
get everything
liked
dark.
it.
Do you need it to be dark? I feel like things should be brighter when you're in battle so you can see everything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And so that if you've been on your feet for a long time, you're really tired, you're less likely to want to fall asleep. Like you don't want really low lighting when you've been working for 52 straight hours, Adam.
No, they never did that on TNG. It's like a total Voyager thing. They started doing this.
Oh my God, he's in the Aeon. Look at that. It's the exact same set. Am I right?
Yeah.
Look at that. It's Brandon, it's the Aeon.
Yeah.
Photon pulses.
If you're a time traveler, would you really want to go back in time in a pod that small?
Yeah. Well, Berlin Hoff Rasmussen went in that little tiny pod.
Yeah, but there was room to walk around in it. Like, that thing looked like you can't even stand up.
It's like a fighter plane, yeah.
You at least got both Rasmussen and Data inside of it at the same time. That thing, it's a guy sitting in it's like an escape pod that you use to time travel. And this COVID guy is in exactly the same set.
COVID.
The COVID guy. from
There it is. There's Aeon. Oh.
All systems destabilizing. What does that even mean?
Oh, okay. When they move the camera a little bit, you can tell it goes out farther, but at first it just looks like he's like all closed in. And, yeah. Well, Harry, you suck at transporters then, buddy. Like, you should have been able to grab them on time.
Yeah, he should have already gotten him, yeah.
Come on. This is why we need a designated transporter chief. Why doesn't Voyager have that?
Transporter chief. Transporter chief, come in.
Now, if you can just do it from the bridge, I don't know why we need somebody standing in a transporter room manning that, but, like, I mean, I'm sure there's cases where we're beaming up a lot of people, but I don't understand why you're
what
gonna...
TNG episode is it where Picard is like, Transporter chief, come in. Transporter chief.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know what you're talking about. But it's like, you know, if you're beaming up a delegation of 2, I don't know why Worf on the bridge couldn't just go, I've beamed them to the transporter room, Captain. Yeah. And then the transporter chief should just be there to, like, receive people and say hi. And then maybe, like, take them to their quarters. That's what they should do.
What happened in the motion picture doesn't happen.
Well, yes. Yeah. Gotta make sure that never happens again. But it's the safest way to travel.
This is so messed up. And then they give McCoy a hard time because 20 minutes later, he didn't want to go into that machine.
Oh, Jason, I can't believe you said that. Jason says, because of what she's doing this episode, see, she's always the Punisher, even in Voyager. Even compared to this, she's way more the Punisher in Picard, okay? She's just female Punisher. I do not feel like an Omega molecule. I'm not perfect. Blessed Sim, there's no transporter chief because Voyager has decided to not have any secondary characters to develop. That's exactly right. What a great point. Yep, that's why. They don't decide to have any secondary characters to develop until they decide that the one child born on Voyager grows at the rate of Alexander Rozhenko.
Yes.
That's when they decide to do it. When you have a 9-year-old on the ship that has only been born for 2 years. And when we were watching this as kids, nobody questioned that. These shows should have gotten... Like, if they came out now, they would be made fun of and raked over the coals so hard for, like, well, you're acting like it's real time. Like, 1 year of Star Trek is 1 year of production, but you have these kids that age in, like dog come years.
With some crazy thing where they're like, her Katarian physiology makes it her age faster or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's... Is that actually said somewhere?
Yeah, I believe they do say that.
Say something.
I gotta look that up.
They do some lip service or something.
Yeah,
well, they clearly weren't thinking about it until people started complaining, I guess. But I don't remember a lot of people talking about it. Like, and I don't remember people talking about Alexander either. And there's...
Faster.
Well, then the Katarians themselves must age really fast. They're Okampans, those people. And then, like, with Alexander, there's no excuse. He's, like, a quarter Klingon. Am I right about that? Alexander can't be, like, even half Klingon, right? Because
he is...
Because his mom is half human.
1/4 Klingon.
So he'd be one quarter Klingon.
Worf is a full Klingon.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Look at us doing math. So he's like Simon Tarses.
Simon Tarses.
Who's 1/4 Romulan.
I think we've talked about the drumhead at least 10 times today. Request denied. When she says request denied, it makes me think of the Pack lads. Request denied.
We make things go.
This scene is good. I like that he says I'm a liability. You got to turn me back to what I was.
We kind of do this with Data though, once or twice, don't we? Though as well, you know, where he's like, I've made a mistake. I can't be allowed to be on the bridge. You know.
Well, he never asked to be reset though. Like
that's true.
Turn me back to factory.
Turn me back to factory install. I love it.
Put the paperclip in the hole.
Solar Dragon, should I skip Voyager Season 1? The short answer is yes.
Gotta take the bad with the good.
No, you don't. Short answer is yes. I feel the same way with Voyager as I do TNG. You're just not going to get into the show, and you're going to get bored and shut it off, probably, unless you just force yourself to keep watching if you don't start with when the show starts to find its footing. So I always say with TNG and Voyager especially, DS9 start on the second to last episode of Season 1. And maybe never bother with Season 1. There's really no reason to do that. I mean, there's a couple of episodes that are fine, but I don't know. If you're just really curious, at least watch the pilot. But like, if you're really curious when you're finished...
That's a lot of stuff.
No, that's true. The pilot you have to watch, but beyond that, I don't know. But with TNG and Voyager, I always say, like, let it start over and then catch back up to where you were. So, like, start at 3 and then roll back into 1 and 2 at the end.
We did it, guys.
But Voyager Season 2 is better than at least like for like I don't know, comparing the show to itself. Overall, I think Voyager has a stronger Season 2 than TNG does, but TNG's good episodes of Season 2 are way better than anything in the second season of Voyager, if that makes any sense, right? Like,
Grey.
I think that show is, like, consistently, that season with Voyager...
Shades of Grey?
I was joking.
Yeah, you're just saying the most obvious stupid episode you can think of. Okay, so let's go ahead and rate, guys. So we watched one of the best Season 3 TNG episodes, and we watched a mediocre Voyager episode that I can never remember what happens in. So let's go ahead and rate them, shall we? If you guys want to watch it live, feel free to go ahead and put in your ratings. We rate on a 0 to 4 scale. So 0, of course, is I wanted to poke out my eyes with a sharp stick while I was watching it, and 4 is that was worth having some champagne. So let's begin. You can do decimal points anywhere in between. I don't think there was anything champagne-worthy this evening.
Having some prune juice.
Prune juice, yes, but only if you're
Warrior Street.
Yep. I wonder if he ever put synthahol in his prune juice. Synthaholic. I wonder if anybody in TNG could be called a synthaholic.
Well, it doesn't have any of the deleterious effects, right?
Except for when it does, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because there are episodes where it's like, oh man, he's had too much synthahol. He's like plastered on the floor. It's like,
I don't understand.
Well then why not just have regular alcohol? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think you can still get drunk off it, but I don't think it causes cirrhosis. That's what the...
Oh, is that what it is?
That's maybe what it's about, yes.
Real quick before we do this, I forgot we missed a super chat from Mr. Roboto like an hour ago. I heard
took a break.
I heard a theory that might line up with Discovery. That might line up Discovery with main canon lore. Reloaded did a Section 31 theory that might make it fit. I don't know what that means.
Lore Reloaded, is that a username?
I assume so. It's all in lowercase and there's not a whole lot of punctuation. Okay, I haven't seen that, so I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do to try to force it in, you know, like trying to make Discovery work in Star Trek canon is like taking a puzzle piece that belongs in the sky section and putting it in the ocean section and trying to force them in there. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Brandon, you want to rate first?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give the first one a 3.5.
Cool.
I did like it, and the implications.
He's rating the Deflector. Sorry, the Defector.
The Deflector.
Yeah.
The implications that here's a man that literally thought he was doing the right thing. He was blinded by what he knew his people to be, in the fact that, you know, he didn't think that he could be fed false information on such a level, and he finds out later that everything he did was for naught. Like, that's gotta be a tough pill to swallow. Like,
yep.
Big time. And you really see it come across. I dug the acting performance in this too. When he makes the realization, he does parrot exactly what Picard said back to Tomalak, which, as you said, we don't see enough of Tomalak. You know, I like Picard's line in there, you know, or when he says it's always a chess game with them, or something along those lines.
Yep.
I really like that. So 3.5. This one, We're gonna give it like I saw it because I slept through it the last time we watched.
Yeah,
it.
and this time we really talked through it. I mean, we mentioned some things, but we talked about everything else under the sun. Also.
I saw some more of the episode this time around, and it didn't help. So we're gonna go with like a 2.75.
That is a 20-page short story.
Kind of.
It's like stretched to 45 minutes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was padded.
Like if that was in a half-hour format, it's a better episode. You know?
I'm gonna give it a 2.75.
2.75.
Fair enough. So no champagne, but also no sharp sticks.
No Cleon paint sticks to the eyes.
Ooh, that's even worse. Ugh. Adam.
I agree with Brandon on the Defector. I give it a 3.5 also. It's definitely it's a very good, memorable episode with, Admiral Jarok.
It's got some speeches in it.
No bass!
The other episode, what was it called? What was it called? What the second episode?
Retrospect. Because it's about cancel culture in retrospect.
I give that episode
about how people
1.7.
Court of Public. It's about how people jump to conclusions before they have all the facts and say you're done, you're out. I don't even care if you make it home okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's that. You'll never work in this town again.
Yeah. So 1.75 for that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, then I care.
A whole point less.
I think the moral of the story there is be careful not to stand next to people of the opposite sex too close when you're working. You know, it's an anti-sexual harassment episode. Yeah, it's like look, it doesn't matter what your intentions are. If you're constantly creepily standing over the shoulder of a lady while she's working, while you're condescending and yelling in her face, then then you shouldn't be all that surprised when bad things happen to you. It's just a bad idea. Just don't do it. Just be respectful to everybody. You know?
Yeah.
Be kind.
But even if you're not a respectful person, be smart about it in the workplace.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't do antagonistic things.
That was like a TV movie of the week.
Oh, it really was, yeah. You almost expect Jerry Ryan like out of makeup at the end of the episode, like after the credits have rolled, to be like
to explain the moral
to be like,
of this.
One out of every 4 women suffers.
Exactly.
I'm Jerry Ryan. One out of
talk to you about today's episode.
1 out of every 4 women in the workplace is sexually harassed, and you should do your part to make sure that people feel comfortable in the workplace.
On that note, though, I will say that's funny to have 7 of 9 do that, but like that obviously is a serious issue.
No, it is. I'm not belittling the issue.
No, and I understand that, but I just like to put that out there.
Like that.
Yeah, look, drugs are also a serious issue. It doesn't mean I can't laugh at the commercials from the 90s. That this is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs.
Yeah,
and this is your family.
I feel like anything can be made fun of. It doesn't mean that you're belittling the problem.
No, of course not.
Okay, so I'm gonna give the Defector. The Deflector I'll give like a 1.5 because we tend to act like it's not an important integrated system, but it absolutely matters. So I don't know. But the Defector, I'm gonna give.
I was like, what are you? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give a.
I'm
gonna give a 3.5. I agree with you guys.
Awesome.
It's an episode I love in TNG. I can't
Consensus.
go. I can't quite go to a 4 with it. Only in comparing it to other things. I don't even know that there's much I'd change about that episode. It doesn't have any real glaring issues.
Right, it's just not a 4.
It's wonderfully thought-provoking. I think it is an overlooked, essential episode in TNG becoming the show that it is, and I don't think, again, that you get to the Cardassians without it, and I don't think, just as far as the ideas and the tone of what Moore is thinking of when he writes them. That, like Brandon said, it's one of the best guest star spots in that season. But yeah, I mean, we always talk about, like, you know, you got to get to Yesterday's Enterprise before it finds its footing, and a couple other season 3 episodes. That one's pivotal and doesn't get talked about enough. Although I feel like it's been reassessed recently. I feel like I'm hearing more people when they bring up
about it.
The classic TNG episodes, throwing that episode in. It's like a lot of people have gone back into the rewatches and are like, where was that? I don't even remember that episode. I think a lot of people have had that with it. And then Retrospect is a 2. I guess I'll go in between you guys. Yeah, it's just a 2. I feel like it's a, like Busted Sim or somebody said, it's a complex issue that is worth talking about, but it's not being done in the most like mature or sophisticated way, and you kind of obviously want that for Star Trek, and you want it to not just be like preaching, especially when it's like a preach at the choir thing. It's like, who doesn't agree with what this episode is saying, you know?
A good chunk of this episode is a false memory, like.
Yeah. It's also just boring and takes too long. I mean, it's like 15 minutes of content stretched to 40. Yeah, stretched to 45 minutes. And I don't know. So it's not offensively bad, but it's not good. I don't know.
Can we make better cuts of Star Trek episodes?
And I feel like. I mean, it would be hard. The only way you make a good cut of an episode like that is the same way you make a good, or at least a better cut of something like Batman and Robin, where you have to cut just a bunch of stuff out of it and dwindle it down to like 20 minutes so that it's bearable. Right. So like you can't make a thing like that great. You can just get it to bearable, and like, not that that's impossible to watch, it's just dull, right? There's a lot of stuff you could cut out of it, but the reason I say that is there's material you would have to add to make it good. You can't just detract a few things and then make it, because you have characters that are kind of oversimplified and almost out of character. Like Seven and the Doctor are both almost
are totally different.
Are almost out of character. You can't solve that problem by removing anything. All right, well, let's find out what the audience believes. Busted Sim. Wait, that's not a rating. HP Haga. That's not a rating either. Hold on. I saw slashes. I saw slashes and thought that they were ratings. I apologize. Okay, Busted Sim, the Defector, 4.7. He must mean 3.7. Because we rate on a 4 scale. But if he wants to go that far over a 4, then he is currently getting drunk on champagne. He is a synthaholic, yeah. And then Retrospect, he gives a 1.8. Tom says 3.2. I don't know which episode he's rating 3.2.
3.2 beer?
But he just wrote 3.2.
Like 3.2 synthaholic?
Noah,
the average between the two.
The Defector, 3 out of 4. Retrospect, 1.5 out of 4. Jason is a psychopath. He gave
Jason.
Yes, because maybe he flipped these. I don't know, but he and I are. He's gonna get a talking to in the morning. No donuts for you for the rest of this week, kid. Because he gave the Defector a 2, so we're gonna have to watch that when nobody's talking over it, kid. And he gave Retrospect a 3, so I guess he just went with characters he likes. Is the sense I'm getting. Okay. I guess we'll find out.
Will Jason change his mind in Retrospect?
He will after I ground him.
For a bad Star Trek episode
I'm joking, Jason. Busted Sim says, excuse my previous rating of 3.7. So he didn't quite get to champagne. He's not a synthaholic, apparently. Okay, well, that was fun. Who's for Chinese? Everybody, thanks as always for watching. Hope you had a great time. We certainly did. We'll see you again next Monday, more than likely.
I had
for
a stupendous time, Cap.
Oh, yeah? Did you? Let's go with other great adjectives. I had a fantabulous time. What kind of a time did you have, Adam?
Fantastic. That's what Henry Fonda says that in the movie On Golden Pond.
Oh, I thought that was yours, and I was going to give you so much credit for it. But the fact that you thought of it, I was going to try to make like a pretty darn great
command joke after that.
But it's great because it is a Star Trek related pun. San Frantastic. You made my whole week with that. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Star-studded Fleet Academy.
It's just everybody in Starfleet is a Hollywood actor you've heard of. It's like Ensign Morgan Freeman. And,
Ensign? He'd be the damn president of the Federation.
No, it's a flashback show. It's from like a whole bunch of years ago.
All right.
I don't know. I'm kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We'll talk about that later.
Star-studded fleet. Okay, well, we sound like we have had too much synthahol. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next
Here's
week.
To the finest crew in Star Trek Club.
You know, that's another one of those things that's weird, where it's like all the things that people most remember about characters end up being when they weren't themselves, or it was someone else pretending to be them.
That's what makes it most memorable, right?
You ever notice that? Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that. We're like, they'll go back and quote, the whole, here's the finest. Yeah, he didn't say that. That's not Picard. I think a lot of people don't know that. Anyway, all right, well, thanks for watching. I was Captain Logan. That's Brandon Grimm.
As always.
And Adam Meredith. Oh, he's got no snappy. No.
Nothing to say.
Nothing like his San Fran.
He's like, I can't beat San Fantastic. All right, later.